I am really actually curious where that word came from because it's a really annoying look. I mean, like I know it's like part of our podcast.
I hate it.
Yeah, like it makes sense, but like I don't know. Entrepreneur.
It does. It is a fancy word.
A little pompous.
Oh yeah. That's why we got to add the unsuccessful in front of it.
No, I think that's an important part.
Keep us grounded.
Yeah, if it said successful entrepreneur, that's like a double, like, I'm doing good at this fancy word.
Look at me.
So annoying.
Yeah, and I think the last 2 minutes of our conversation explain why it's called what it is.
Yeah.
We're doing business, but...
We're doing good business. You know what else is too fancy of a word? Business. Let's get rid of that. Unsuccessful job guys.
Down. Yes.
Yeah. I like it.
I feel like we could just make it even more simple. Just job guys.
Welcome to episode 10 of Job Guys. Where we got jobs and we're guys.
Yeah, I love how it explains everything right in the name.
That's exactly right. I like it. I think it's straight to the point. It's like, why am I wasting time with all these syllables?
Yeah.
These job guys.
Why use more words when could use less?
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, man. All right. Well, welcome to episode 9 of Job Guys. We're mixing it up a little bit. I'm actually kind of excited about this. I'm going to do one of these guys and hope my microphone doesn't explode. But we are kind of venturing out into some different beverages for episodes. And don't mind the paper towels. It'd be good in the background. Look nice. But I have been on a bit of a wine kick recently and started talking to Kevin, and he was like, I'm so down. So we went to our homie at the Wine Barrel, Jance, and he hooked us up with some pretty cool bottles. One of the bottles, he pulled from the back. I don't mean to brag. I mean, he pulled from,
You're in there name dropping. You're like, you just said the word entrepreneur.
Yeah. And he was like, oh my God, is that Thomas from Job Guys? I'll get him one of the back bottles.
So you traded him for an autograph.
Yeah. It's actually just a bottle of water he sold me for $20. But we've got, we are drinking. He recommended, I explained a bit of my palate. I'm very new to wine, so I don't know nothing about nothing. He recommended Pinot Noirs. So that is what we are drinking. We've got one from France and one from Oregon. You say one of them, and I'm going to try to say the other one.
You gave me the tough one, didn't you?
I did not.
Gucci slippers.
That's not right. Yeah, that could be a name of a wine, though, unfortunately. So try again.
Groucho Cellars.
Yeah. Mine is Comtesse Marion. It's French. Yeah, I don't know how to say yours. I don't know how to say mine, to be honest. But I believe he said this one is like his favorite Pinot Noir in the store. That is the one, the Gucci slippers is the one he had to pull from the back. He's like, I'm never giving them a bottle again.
I hope he doesn't listen to this episode.
Yeah, right. Do you have a preference on where we start?
Start here in the States and then make our way across the pond.
God, I love it when you talk like that. All right. You feel confident in doing this? Nah, it's a Tommy job. This fun fact, the bottle opener that we're using was stolen from me. It used to be my mother's, I believe.
You stole it from your mom.
I did. I stole it from my mom.
Then we stole it from Thomas.
And then you stole it from me when we all moved apart. And he just happened. He was like, oh, we got one. And he pulled this out. And I was like, I know that bottle opener. And yeah, it used to be my mom's. So shout out Cindy. Thanks for the hookup.
The things this bottle opener has seen.
Tell you what, man.
Been traveling the Midwest.
I'm very nervous to get this on my new lavender hoodie.
That's a nice hoodie too. Yeah, you want me to do it?
No, it's okay. I get it. Oh, you want to shuckle the cock? Okay, so I've watched some wine YouTube. So you're just supposed to pour it in the glass. Turns out. We're going to drip. But then, Kevin, you're supposed to like swirl it and stuff to get the air into it. You're supposed to aerate it. Where did that paper towel go?
I got you.
Cool. I just don't want to drip on this nice, purely hardwood desk you have here.
Yeah, this thing is also from France.
So then I see people do it like this. I'm also keeping it away from me.
You're doing it like...
Yeah, I'm pretty cool, Kevin. Do yours better.
I don't know. You're going pretty aggressive with yours.
You think you're supposed to. It's part of it. You're supposed to be mad at the wine.
So do you know? Because I've always heard that. Like you gotta let it. You gotta.
Screw you, wine.
You've never been good at anything.
Yeah. Where are you from? Oregon? What are you? Nothing's good from Oregon. You're supposed to sniff it. It does smell nice. Get it closer. I want to hear your sniffs. That was too much. Ryan already hates this episode. I already hate this episode. What are you getting? You getting any notes?
Smells like wine to me.
Tell you what.
So I'm not super well versed in wine either, but obviously can kind of be like whiskeys. So I'd be interested too.
Yeah,
so.
that's kind of that's what's got me interested in it too. It's like there's so many of them. They've got different things, and then they say like, oh, this one's got. I smell pencil shavings, stone fruit, tar.
Maybe in a scotch. But
no, but they really do say stuff like that. Those are all real things that sommeliers say. I've been watching a sommelier on YouTube. He might be bogus, but I don't know. He feels real. He's on the Bon Appetit page. All right. Well,
I feel like that's so. What's the? We'll try this, and I'll ask my question.
Good. That's pretty tasty.
I've had, my fair share of wines, as much as the next guy.
Yeah.
That's very smooth.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Way to go, Jance.
Yeah. That was your first time meeting Jance, right?
Correct. Sorry, I'm adjusting.
And now you understand why when I went in there randomly, we were stopping at a gas station. I was like, hey, there's a liquor store. I'm going to go grab something that I've been wanting to get.
Yeah.
And let's go see if they got it. And I left Alyssa in the car, and I was in there for an hour and a half.
Yeah. And what I know about Alyssa is she was thrilled. She was like, oh, Kevin's in there having fun. I shouldn't bother him.
Yeah, that's how that conversation went.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. But yeah, you texted me when you were there. You asked me when I was getting home, and you were like, I could spend all day here just hanging out with Jance and listen to him talk about stuff.
There's a big thing of like, again, the sommelier says to like in through the mouth, like obviously don't snort your wine, but like breathe in, like, or it's like drink, breathe in, and then breathe out through your nose so that it like travels through your whole tasting palate, which travels into your nose.
I can see that. I think I do something similar with whiskey.
I mean, I don't know. I think that's very nice. I could totally drink that. He said it would pair well with the Brahms chicken sandwich. So he did. He asked me what I was going to eat for dinner tonight. I was like, I'll be honest, man. I'm probably going to go Brahms grilled chicken sandwich. He goes, that screams Italian to me. I was like, I love it. I love that. That's hey, whatever. And then we didn't end up going for the Italian wine, but yeah, super, super funny.
Did you tell him it was for the podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, it was very cool though, because I walked in and I kind of told him what was going on, and he was like, he was walking me through. He had a ton of questions, which is always cool because that's how it is. Like, I genuinely appreciate that because I know that's kind of what it's like for us at Triad, where somebody comes in and they maybe don't, well, no, I don't want to say it that way. It's like people ask more loaded questions than I think that they, if somebody says like, oh, I want to lose weight. Well, okay, I've got about 20 questions to understand how to better help you, right? Because like losing weight is, why have we struggled? What are the things that are connected to this? Are we an emotional eater? Is this just because, you had a kid and you haven't been to the gym, or like whatever the situation is. And it's like, I always have like a laundry list of questions I feel like that I ask people that like get me genuinely to the answer I need, though, because that's how I'm going to be able to truly recommend products to people. So when he started asking me all these different questions, including what I was eating for dinner tonight and blah, 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 I was like, oh man, like I dig this, because this means that there's actually, there's actually something here that you're trying to find.
Yeah, he's got, it's okay. You could go in and he could be like, hey, this is our most popular. Mm-hmm. But he's got 100 different ones, and each different person's going to like something a little different. So like, I know that's especially true for us when it comes to like pre-workouts. Like pre-workouts are kind of like more of a fun supplement. Like we don't have to be super particular, but it's fun to be super particular because everyone likes something different, and pre-workouts range so much
definitely
that one person comes in, buys a pre-workout, the next person that comes in is probably a very rare chance that they're going to like the exact same thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's totally a different deal. And so same kind of thing, like somebody comes in like, hey, I'm looking for a pre-workout, what do you recommend? I'm like, okay, well, first and foremost, like, are we wanting it to be stimulated? Do you want caffeine in there? It's like, okay, yes or no. Okay, well, how much caffeine are you wanting in there? And then it's also like, what kind of training are you doing? Because if you're doing CrossFit, I'm not going to give you, most times, I'm not going to give you something with a ton of like pump ingredients in it. Like,
right.
There's a lot that goes into it. What kind of training are you doing? What time are you going to the gym? Because that can be a huge, like giving somebody something with a fat dose of like Teacrine or Zoom XR if they're going to the gym at 8:00 at night. It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like you're going to be up all night. But there's a million questions. But I did really appreciate that, and he was apologizing about it. And I was like, no, man, like you're feeding me what I want.
There's a difference between people that appreciate that and that don't. Like I know I've had customers. I had one customer stop me. He came in, was looking for maybe protein or something, and I started asking him a few different questions before as we were even walking anywhere in the store, that's what we do pretty much everybody. And he stopped after maybe like 3 or 4 questions. And he was like, man, I just wanted to let you know, like, I appreciate you asking me questions before you're just recommending something. I was like, cool, man. This guy genuinely understands like why I'm doing that. This would be an awesome interaction. I have also had people where I'm like, I ask a couple of questions, and like I had one particular person where they walked in.
What's their name?
I never got it. And he was looking for protein. He's like, hey, what protein do you recommend? Well, man, that depends. Are you using it after a workout, throughout the day? And he's like, I don't know. You tell me. I'm like, well, like, okay, well, like, what other times are you eating throughout the day? Like, what's your protein? And I kind of was like trying to take it a little bit different route. And he was like, that's okay. I'll just get it somewhere else, and just walked out. I'm like, oh crap. Like, dude, I can't just.
Yeah.
So for that guy, to please that guy, like, I that was one that I learned from, of maybe use your sensory acuity to say, when someone comes in and just asks, hey, what protein do you recommend? And they shoot down the first question, just recommend something that would generally work for anybody.
Yeah, just give him a concentrate.
Because he doesn't want the whole spiel, but 99.9% of people appreciate that. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Ryan, is the fan affecting the camera at all?
Not too much.
Okay, cool. Just want to be sure.
We could turn it off if you want, but
nice.
Well, it feels nice.
It does. It feels very.
Yeah.
So, but no, that's definitely, and feel free to pour away because I'm about to want some more too. I just want to do a nice little taster first.
Yeah, that is very good.
That is, yeah, super good. That is the one that is the, he had to pull from the back, but he says he likes this other one more.
So obviously we aired this out a little bit. Do you know because I've heard that, you hear that when people are drinking wine a lot of like, oh, you got to let it air out. But like, what's the point of that? Like, what's that actually doing? Do you know?
I have no idea, to be honest.
I'm going to try mine before I swirl it around and then after.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll taste more air in here.
This is just off the top shelf, but when I see like airing it out, I think of like aerating greens and just making maybe like it more true. Could be completely off there.
Yeah, no, I can't get that though.
Aerating, like, aerating greens?
Yeah, so like at a golf course, if you aerate a green, they're going in and punching in the holes and everything to get it back to where it can roll as true as possible for the next season.
Right.
And so that'd be my guess, but I've never had alcohol, so
That no, that makes sense. You said aerating greens, like I thought you meant powdered greens, like supplement. And
You gotta aerate your greens, yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
you not.
only a fool wouldn't.
That before I swirled it around, tastes like it's got I taste less flavor in that than I did based compared to the last sip of the last glass.
I think a part of it too is like moving the alcohol vapors, like something like that. Like it aerates the alcohol vapors out so that you are tasting the actual wine more as opposed to just like the alcohol. I don't know. I think it's kind of like potentially like putting like a bit of water in whiskey too, where you kind of like calm down the alcohol in order to taste everything else. I'm totally guessing though.
Yeah. I bet we're probably not far off.
Yeah.
Or there's someone that is like, you idiots.
He's so funny. It's like Will, just like, yo, you idiots! It's for the tannins. Okay, I'm sorry, Will.
I could see Will being a big wine guy. He's a big tequila and whiskey guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's just a big guy in general.
He's a big guy in general.
So I went ahead and looked it up.
There you go.
Nice.
Hey, thanks, Jamie.
Yes.
Aerating wine simply means exposing the wine to air or giving it a chance to breathe before drinking it. The reaction between gases in the air and wine charges the flavor of the wine. Some need it and some don't.
That flavor, next time you pour that, try it before you swirl it and then try it after. Like genuine difference. And I'm not like huge into wine, so I wouldn't be able to taste the differences too much. But
well, you see those ones where they have like even you like put it in the wine bottle, like it almost looks like a cork, and when you it like bubbles air through the whole thing.
Corey did that over the weekend, and he felt, I'm sure, so fancy about it.
I'm sure he did. He was like,
he doesn't have any idea what it does.
He's been riding that high ever since. He'll be chasing that high forever. Remember when I had that wine bottle bubbler?
And I put it in there in front of everybody.
That's right. That sounds like Corey. What a schmuck. Oh man. But yeah, no, the wine barrel was super cool though. I was excited to have a chance to go in there and actually check it out and see what it was all about. And it was super cool getting to talk to him because he knows a ton about all of them. But I mean, obviously we had some good conversation about whiskey and then started talking about wine, and that's where we kind of really started to get into stuff. And so it was great. It was an awesome experience.
Yeah. How long were you there?
Probably half an hour before I was like, I gotta get going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always how it is. It's like, I'm like sitting there talking with him. I'm like, man, I don't want to leave, but I gotta leave. Like, there's no other liquor store I ever spent half an hour in.
No, right. Yeah. Or that I even like really talked to the guy working that much.
Yeah. But yeah, if you need somewhere to go and you want to help me out and my credit over at the Wine Barrel, go in there and mention Kevin.
Yeah, right. Hey. No, he was super cool. It was a super neat place. It's worth the drive for sure. It's not that far out, but it's right by here. But
definitely, it's been real convenient for me. So
I'm sure
it's been nice. So
yeah, absolutely. And he's just a super cool guy.
I was even telling my parents are coming in from out of town for Thanksgiving. This is actually cool. This will be the first like holiday that we celebrate here in Oklahoma City. So it's my parents are coming to town, and Corey's family's coming to town too. So it'll be fun. And my mom was talking about picking up beers and stuff, and I was like, if you pick it up in town, go to the Wine Barrel.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
That'll be nice. It'll be a nice little break of Thanksgiving that we have, where it's kind of like it's nice to get away from work, but it's also a day of work typically. But it'll be fun though. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Going to Laurel's family's.
Oh yeah. You guys doing anything special? Just
I don't think we're doing it at our parents' house. I think we might be doing it at our grandparents' house this year. But no, it's always a big thing. Like whole family comes. It gets fun. They make good food. So Laurel's family's blessed with some good cooks, so that's nice.
But yeah, getting a day to just not do anything Triad related will actually be nice. Since the last podcast, I don't think you or I have stopped.
Dude, no.
Yeah.
Not a moment. But It's been you know what's cool though? Through it I still, spend as much time with Laurel as I could. Hit the gym, tweaked my back again, but hit the gym a regular amount of times. Like that was nice. Like I was still like, as crazy as it was, I was still able to kind of like find my normal routine to an extent.
Yeah.
Which can be a big thing for my mental health for sure. If I
Yeah.
start losing my normal routine, I am out the gates.
Yeah, I was real close to like not being able to do a lot of my regular stuff, and I mentally, it just my whole world starts to collapse. But still made it to the gym. A lot of nights it wasn't till 9, 10, or even sometimes 11 o'clock at night I wasn't there. But it was like, man, I am not going to mentally be good if I don't.
Yeah.
So I'd rather lose a little sleep and just get it done. Just maybe speed up the workout a little bit. I was really proud of. I know I mentioned to Alyssa a couple of times. Still walking the dogs every single day, especially because Alyssa and I were gone for longer days.
Yeah.
And the dogs were here. So still wanted to make sure that they got their walk in the morning and were
Nice.
like, at least, got some exercise, got to move around, and prepared for a little longer day at home.
I hit I think it was like 4 times in the last couple weeks that I hit the gym with Laurel at 5:30 a.m.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Dude, that right there. I am not one of those people. I wish I could hit the gym that early, but it is just not in me.
I struggle to get a good workout at that time. I've got to be doing like certain things. I found that when I used to go to SRT early in the morning at like 5:30 or 6:30 in the morning, that I could do. SRT, for anybody who doesn't know, it's kind of like a group training class down in Norman, ran by Derek. He's a great guy. Great gym. They do a really good job down there. But I can really only get a good workout at 5:30 in the morning if somebody is specifically telling me what to do, and everyone around me is encouraging everyone else around me to push it. Like I have to do a group class like setting, otherwise I just like mosey my way around the gym because I'm too tired.
Dude, I think there's something to be said for those group classes. I mean, I've jumped in, a handful of different places around town, and it's not necessarily my go-to. It's doing a lot of more bodybuilder movements, like at least bodybuilding style of workouts. Definitely a lot, mostly on my own. But dude, you get in those groups, man. You got those moms next to you, and they're like,
they kill it,
dude. If that's not motivating when you're going through like a big circuit or something, and you got this mom that's got 3 kids that passes you up, and you're like humbled, and you're like, I can't let this happen,
dude. For real though, it's a big thing. But there is like the camaraderie of it. Like there's a lot of cool aspects to it. I get why people do it and enjoy those, and there's a reason why they're so popular. And you just get a good workout. I found that even early in the morning, it's like having a coach on a headset, like over the speakers, like sees me being lazy and goes, "Come on, Thomas, you got another one." I'm like, shit, like you know what I mean. But it gets me an actual good workout in the morning.
Yeah.
But like otherwise, if I just go, I will mosey my way around, and then I won't do much.
Yeah.
Try my best, but I've been doing mostly with her like that early in the morning, like a lot of just like stretching, mobility stuff, like hit the sauna, like those kind of deals.
I'm kind of the same way. I don't have as great a workout. If there's some mornings, maybe I can go, maybe even at like 9 or so, if I can get up early enough and get moving. Once I get there, I'm good, and it feels really nice afterwards to be, done with the workout. But those early ones, I don't know what it was, but I tried it in college, and everybody says you do it for 2 weeks straight, and it won't be a problem. You'll be in the routine, and I tried it, and I even did it for an extended period of time. I think it was around 2 weeks, and I was going with Michael Sonderman, I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, and I think he really liked it, but my blood pressure would get really high. My ears would start popping in the morning.
Oh.
I don't 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure why that is.
You
Because
think it was from Sonderman? Could be.
Just stressed by being around him. No, he was my workout partner in the afternoon, and it was always fine.
Just kidding.
I know. Yeah, I never have like blood pressure issues, but like in the morning, like my ears would start popping, and it was like just distracting, and it didn't feel great. So Yeah, I haven't really tried since.
I can do, like I said, if I'm doing a group class thing, it doesn't really matter what time at that point because there's like enough external motivation around. If I'm on my own, I'd say like 8's about my sweet spot. I don't mind going to 8 at all. That doesn't bother me. I can do 8.
I can do 9. I can do about 9. I'll get some good workouts at 9. It gives me a little bit again to get up, get moving, get some food in.
I'd much rather go at 8 a.m. than 8 p.m. though.
I am not a fan of going at 8 p.m. Like, it's like, man, it'd be nice to kind of end my day and, go home and chill for a little bit before I have to go to bed and start the next day. But if I get in there at around 8 or even later, as long as I got enough sleep and, I'm not running on fumes or anything. Here come the dogs.
We gotta break in.
But those end up being some of my best workouts for some reason. Yeah,
Nice.
I try not to do those because obviously then I'm not getting the greatest sleep that night.
Yeah.
But they end up being really, really solid workouts for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, these last so for anybody who doesn't know, who's maybe just kind of chiming into this episode as their first episode to listen to, we were it took us what normally takes us like a number of months when it comes to build out of a new location. We did it in 2 weeks and 1 day. And so I was talking to JP this morning actually, and we were kind of talking about it, and I was like, man, I was like, the majority of days for 2 weeks, we had somebody here from like 9 a.m., sometimes earlier, but about 9 a.m. to as late as midnight or later on multiple occasions. And somebody there every waking moment of that, between kind of all of us. And it was like, oh yeah. And then we opened on Friday, and like awesome day on Friday, incredible turnout, super cool for the first day of the new store to have so many people show up and just show support, whether they were, even customers of our other locations and would remain customers of our other locations. We had a lot that were like, hey, we're a lot closer now because we're, in the Yukon Mustang area. And it's like, that's a lot closer for them, and that's great, and that's why we did it. But we also had a number of people who were like, no, I live up in the other side of Edmond, I'm just coming to check out the new spot. And so that was pretty cool to have a number of people come and just check us out just to see how the new space was going. And so they were all like, we couldn't believe it, we couldn't believe that you guys did this in 2 weeks. And I was telling them, I was like, yep, 2 weeks ago yesterday at the time, I was like, 2 weeks ago yesterday, we were concrete floors and blank walls.
Yeah, we obviously that was Friday when we opened. 2 weeks ago today, we did the podcast in the store that had we had floors, white walls, floors. I think we had slats, but no shelves, right? No products, no sign.
What a crazy thing. That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that store was a mess. Like, it was like about maybe halfway done, or it looked maybe about halfway done. And now it is currently open as we speak. Kaylin's there hanging out with big customers.
Yeah, it was super cool though, man. It was cool to, it's also kind of funny because I don't think, we talked about this before, but I don't think the landlord thought that we were going to open as fast as we were going to open. And I totally get it. Like, but we were getting a number of the like, oh yeah, we'll get this done tomorrow. And then like tomorrow would come and it wouldn't get done or whatever. And it's like nothing that was a huge deal, but it was like, oh, we'll get this done. We'll get this done then. And one of the big ones was the bathroom floor was just concrete. And so we were like, we had contacted him about, us just like staining it or, and sealing it or whatever that would kind of look like. And he was like, no, we'll put something down. We'll do it tomorrow. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. And then Friday morning came and the open sign came on and we had customers and the floor still wasn't done in the bathroom. And he came in and had kind of an oh shit look, and him himself was in there like sweeping and helping clean the bathroom. So I was like, that's when you know that he was like, oh dang, we've got to get this done. And yeah, during our first day of opening, the bathroom floor was being laid for the majority of the morning that we were there.
I told him Friday, I was like, hey, we're shooting for Friday. I don't know, maybe he didn't believe us because I mean,
I wouldn't have.
I was going to say I wouldn't have believed this. And obviously we didn't announce that we were trying to open by Friday to anybody, because then you get people that are overly excited. And,
Right.
you know, and then if you have to push it back, then that sucks. We waited literally until the day before to announce, hey, we're opening on Friday. But if we would have told people, I don't think people would have believed us.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got that done quick.
Well, yeah, because he showed up and, you know, it's 8:55 and we're 6 people deep in the store right now, and we don't open until 9. and so I think he was like, "Oh dang!"
I got change in the morning, so it was Thomas and I working this weekend. It's funny because the actual schedule didn't start until today, and so, you know, because we're like, hey, you know, this is kind of the week that we're shooting for. So there's, you know, a few days that there's no schedule written for, so that means it's Thomas and I. So it was him and I on Friday opening the store, and I went to go get change in the morning, and you can't get change until at least at this location until 8:45. So get change. I'm there by 8:50, and there is a crowd of people in the store. Yeah. And I'm like, it is not even open yet. What is everybody doing?
Yeah, it was super cool though. I mean, we wouldn't change it for anything. But
I
yeah,
was
it was
super appreciative of it. That was like, I was definitely more excited. I was like, oh crap, I gotta go set my stuff down. It's like, I was definitely very pumped about it.
Oh, you definitely can taste the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I really like this one. This is good.
It is a very good
I
one.
don't drink a lot of red wine, but I'm trying to kind of like venture into that world, and so now I'm kind of just learning what I like and what I don't like.
Yep.
But yeah, no, we it was funny because Ollie and his guys, our landlord and the guys, were kind of coming in and out, and I think that's what made everybody else think that we were open. So like everybody, which is totally fine. Like we were ready to go anyway, but yeah, they were going in and out, and so then everybody from their cars that were waiting outside, which was amazing that we had a crowd of cars waiting outside for us to open. But yeah, super cool for us. So,
yeah,
super exciting. It was cool getting to work with you too. It's been, you know, we don't get to do it very often anymore. It's such a funny thing. Like that used to be such a regular deal, and now it's like, man, like we get to work together. What, like, dude, we haven't worked together in over a year.
Dude, it's fun taking customers with you. I remember, you know, when we would, and we never really got a ton of chances, even in Triad. You know, with Norman, it was only one person on shift at a time. Mm-hmm. And then when we finally started doing an overlap, that was when I kind of transitioned out of the store. Yeah. So I know we had one day at Quail that was very similar to our first day at UConn.
Which is where this picture of the sticker for the podcast comes from.
The day you and I worked together. And,
yeah.
Dude, it's fun because I feel like you and I, like, we know how to interject with each other's customers real well.
Yeah.
Because we know how, you know, we know where each other are at in the process of like helping people out and working with them. So it's funny to kind of like, it's usually you and I like giving each other shit.
Yeah, right. But without like cutting each other's legs out from underneath each other. Like,
right.
We can do it, and we can make it make sense. And yeah,
I was
for sure.
I was telling, because it was pretty crazy at UConn on Friday. I was making a lot of jokes in your expense without you being knowing about it.
Please, did you write them down? I would love to hear them.
I don't remember any of them, but
he's not allowed jokes anymore.
Yeah.
What?
Because he wasn't good at them.
Yeah, after last one, you're just no more jokes for you.
You laughed at that one. You not at the punchline, but
so you're making fun of me, and now you don't got the whatevers to say to my face. What you saying?
It was in the moment, you know. It was.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. I was making fun of you. Like I used to make fun of you every day. So.
What?
Yeah. It's mostly for the way your face is shaped.
Okay. So, how was the first day of the actual schedule at UConn today? That's the first day. I was there for about 15 minutes. I dropped off a transfer for Kaylin. Got to talk to her for a second. There was a customer in, kind of coming to check us out. But today was the first day on the regular schedule, one person working, open like normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was it?
It was good. We're kind of in that phase where like we don't have an expectation of being super busy for obvious reasons. You know, it's a brand new store, and we saw almost 100 people on Friday. So a lot of our customers who would normally be shopping with us throughout the week have already gotten their stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a nice day because now that the kind of the dust has settled, you're kind of looking around and realizing the things that you need that we don't have right now. So a couple of like good option or good examples of that are like, you know, there's a couple things that we need to still pick up in the store. Like or for the store, I hung some like office supply shelves today, built some chairs, like did some of the just like random work that needs to get done around the store. And so it's kind of in that phase where it's kind of weird, where it's like not being crazy busy is not the end of the world, because you kind of need some time to finish doing everything, because we did get open so quick. There are a couple of things, not that we like missed anything, but like just finding places for things, building chairs. Like,
no, we definitely, Alyssa and I put a list together of like everything that we have to do, you know, for the Yukon store, and then we separated it. What has to happen before we open,
right,
and what can wait.
Right, exactly. And so, you know, I was cleaning a blender bottle today, and the sink is very high because we don't have like a faucet head on there. It's just like pour straight from, and because it falls, it's pretty far from the sink to like the actual mop sink floor. I was washing a blender bottle today, and I like turned it on, and it just splashed all over my pants, and I was like, oh yeah, we like
that's why we got one of those in Norman.
Yeah, we don't have like a hose in the mop sink to like fill the mop bucket without having to like set the whole mop bucket in the mop sink and then pick the whole mop bucket full of water out of the mop sink.
Yeah.
And it's like just little things like that. And so I was sending some texts in the group chats of just like, hey, send me a picture of the contraption that we have on the mop sink down in Norman, and just random things like that. Got the office supply shelf like put together and put on the wall and stuff. Just random things that, funny enough, that did not require a drill, that required a hammer. So I used, not to worry though, I used the rock from the back door that we used to hold it open. So
creative.
I didn't have much options. So those shelves get held with like these very interesting like drywall anchors that do a nail into them instead of a screw.
Dude, I remember I think I'm the same way of when I get an idea of a project that I want to finish or want to do, I will find, especially like something that is like is like a handy, like around the house kind of like thing. Once I get it in my head that I want to get it done, I'm going to get it done, and I don't want to waste time going to the hardware store.
Yep.
I remember in the totally unrelated story at the fraternity house in college, I moved in and I bought a bunk bed that had like a desk where I actually put a couch underneath the bunk bed. Thomas slept on that couch a handful of times.
It's super uncomfortable.
What? It was a love seat, that's for sure. But it was a comfortable love seat, right?
It was a comfortable love seat. The problem is that the armrests were just like wood with like a little bit of pad on it. And so it was like the padding was nice for your arm, but it was like a wooden step and then just like a little pad over that. So it was very dig into your neck a little bit. But
Gotcha.
I slept many a nights on that couch.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember I put the bunk bed in and I slept there the first night, and I realized like getting in and out of it, it would like wobble a whole bunch, or anytime I would move in the bed at all, it would just wobble a ton.
Yeah.
Like, I just need to like drill this thing into the wall. And luckily enough, there was a stud right where I needed it to be.
Oh.
And I was like, man, I don't want to drive to the hardware store now. I'm like, there's got to be a screw somewhere in this house. And I just I was on the schedule where I was waking up before everybody else. For like an hour, I just scoured the house, found a screw, put it in the bunk bed, and that's where it stayed the whole rest of the year.
That's so funny. Oh gosh. A teak house screw. The things that screw has seen.
Torn down now.
Yeah, for real. They're in that old house. They're in the old nobody cares about what I'm talking about right now, but
Theta Chi?
no. Well, yeah, it was the Theta Chi house, and then it was the the one that used to be next door to our old house. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares about this. But they're over by Taco Bell Fields now. They're right across the street.
That's good.
Yeah. But no, they're in a cool house. So
Nice.
yeah, they sent out college kids. They sent out a newsletter today in the alumni Facebook group, and it was like, oh, the newsletter, and like the newsletter was like homecoming, and it's like October 28th, and it was like, oh guys, like it's November 21st. So like, thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, I can't say that we were much more organized when we were there.
1000% not. No, definitely not.
That's funny.
Be cool to go back and do an alumni thing. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I haven't gone back for anything, like any homecoming or anything like that in forever. You kind of reach a certain age. I feel like there's actually, it's funny as it is, there's like an age gap. It's like you go from like 20 to like 20, from like 21 to 26 or however old you are after college until about 25, 26. And then you're like, okay, cool. I don't need to come back. I don't even know these people anymore.
Right.
And then it's like, then you stop, and then I feel like once you hit your 40s again, you're like, I want to go get drunk over there. And then you start going back, and you start being like one of the old alumni guys.
And they invite you back because you got enough money to donate at that point.
1000%. That's exactly right. Genius. That's a great thought. It'd be cool to go back and do something sometime.
Dude, there was I think it was maybe last year, the current president, Preakness of our fraternity, our chapter, for some reason was coming through Oklahoma City, and him and another brother stopped by the store to check it out.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and they shot me a message afterwards like, hey, dude, we stopped by the store. We talked to so-and-so. So
nice.
yeah, it was really cool.
That's super neat.
And it was like someone that I like didn't know who they were at all. So
dude, it'd be fun to
Had
get
heard a
like a bunch of the guys from like the pledge classes and the pledge classes around us to like everybody just randomly go back for one.
That'd
That'd be funny.
that would be a lot of fun. I'm in on that.
Yeah, it'd be a good time.
Dude, you get that ball rolling and everybody would want to join
Yeah,
in.
you just like surprise the actives with just like 40 of us. Like,
They'd either be super down or they would hate us.
yeah, probably both. So, but yeah, no, but yeah, back to the store and stuff. It was nice. It was a good day today. Like, obviously not as busy, but that's kind of, honestly a bit of a blessing in disguise, just in the sense of like, there's still so much to do, so much organization to do, just because we're kind of like open. I mean, I was up at Quail today, just pulling products just to get our sample shelf like halfway functional, you know what I mean? And so it was like,
Did you get to pull some products?
yeah, I pulled a decent amount. I try not to pull too much, but like, I still, I have a solid box. There's probably 12 to 15 tubs of stuff in there, pre-workouts and proteins and stuff.
Nice.
Mostly proteins, mostly like Formula 1s and Core Pros and stuff like that I know we're going to sample out there regularly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was, it's cool. It's cool. It's starting to really take shape now that we've gotten all the tools and stuff out of there and all kind of like the extra crap that like doesn't need to be there anymore. We've got our shelves, and all the shelving that we need is in. And so now it's like, okay, cool. This can start going here. This can start going there. And it's like, we can actually start building what this store will eventually look like for a long time,
Yeah. I think Alyssa placed orders last night. So obviously replenishing, what we sold through the weekend, but also is hitting a lot of the out of stocks that we couldn't order the last couple of weeks. So it'll start to fill up even more than it is already. But yeah, being there earlier today, it looked more of like this looks more like a functioning store. It looks like, to me, I can tell it's like this is a new store. You can just tell, like, and obviously I'm sure most people could tell, but like there's certain things of it of like, there's so much room on the shelves in the back, and that just is not a thing at either of the other stores.
For real. You say that Quail's looking a little bare in the back right now.
Is it really?
Yeah. Well, granted, we took like 30 grand of inventory from them, but
yeah. The back looks different. The front I
front
cannot
looks
tell.
great. But yeah, I was like looking at different stuff, and I was like, gosh, you guys don't have that much back here. And Noah and Anthony were like, yeah, dude, because you guys stole it all. I was like, oh, fair enough. Yeah, we did. Right?
That's I think we talked about this, but yeah, about half of our inventory at UConn came from Quail and
backstock stuff. Yeah,
yeah, and it's man, it was really interesting talking to Alyssa because I didn't realize how much of it had gotten to this point. But, she talks about, we get some orders sent to Quail, and then we transfer it out from there, kind of use it as a hub. That store has become a warehouse to so much more of a degree than I realized.
Yeah.
That to be able to pull 30 grand in inventory from it, just like that, and to stock half of a new store is just wild.
Yeah, shout out to everybody at Quail who had to pull that too, because I know that wasn't fun.
That was an all-day job. I think they started first thing in the morning, and they didn't finish until like late at night. I remember piling it all in my truck.
Yeah, I remember unpiling it all out of your truck. Yeah, no, it was. But I think it's cool, and I think it's a really interesting thing because it's a dynamic of the business that we don't necessarily think about all the time, and that is that we do have a functioning warehouse out of the back of Quail right now, and how much like Alyssa does, where we literally have 2 different transfer tables. We've got a Norman table, we've got a Yukon table, and it's one of those where she's she'll send a text and a list of all the things that need to get pulled to go to different stores, and you pick it up and take it there, and it's a whole functioning little ecosystem of things that is, you don't necessarily account for whenever you're, one, probably starting the business, or 2, even as the business is growing. You just don't realize we are going to literally have to make deliveries, or otherwise this just is next to impossible to keep up with.
Dude, I was saying it earlier today. I was piling everything in my truck, and Yukon doesn't need much of a transfer yet. That'll grow.
Sure.
Norman was not particularly big. I've definitely taken bigger Norman transfers, and my truck was filled to the brim.
Yeah,
and I was like, it gets much bigger than this. Doesn't make sense. I'd have to make 2 trips, or we need to get a box truck.
Yeah, what a thing though, right? Or one of those freaking Ford big old passenger van things that people, my friends, they've got 9 children, and they've got one of those, but we literally need
no seats in it. It's just that you just pile the kids in.
Yeah, well, same thing.
I'm just kidding.
They're strapped into the ceiling or something. But we are not far from essentially needing something like that, the days went quick of the Norman transfer being able to fit into, because we transfer to Norman twice a week too. We transfer for meeting, and we transfer on Mondays, and so it's there's a whole bunch of gone are the days of even the after meeting transfer fitting in my car.
Yeah.
No way.
Have we talked about the future warehouse on the podcast yet?
We have not. No.
So that is officially the goal as of right now. We've got a few different options on the table, but a lot of our stuff, a lot of our overflow for especially Define is stored in temperature controlled storage units right now. For a period of time, we got up to 3 storage units, because obviously your inventory kind of goes back and forth a little bit.
Sure.
It's back to 2. I think we're still paying for 3, but then it'll probably go back to 3, and then probably work its way up to 4.
Right.
But officially decided to make the move to just go full warehouse by next summer. So partially because we're spending a boatload in storage units.
Yeah.
But we also had I feel like this is a kind of a cool story now that we've kind of gotten past the stressful part of it, of the isolets. We make Define isolate, strawberry, kiwi, and mango. Both of those require very little flavoring, and have been a fantastic product for us. And we're moving just great. And then
Preston hates his strawberry kiwi, though, right?
Yeah, I think he might still be voting to get rid of that one.
So too. He's gonna be so pissed.
But almost overnight, so we're dwindling on our inventory. We even had a new order actually arrive, and then almost overnight we had some flavors start to go bad, and we realized that, or we came to the conclusion that we think, obviously, so if you try a protein when it's first made, and if you take a basic chocolate protein and you try it when it's first made, and then you try it 2 years later, the chocolate will have less flavoring. So all flavor systems start to kind of deteriorate, fade out over time.
It's an interesting thing. I didn't know that until this situation.
Yeah. But yeah, when we get man, we're changing up the flavor system a little bit, but
secrets.
yeah, we won't get into all that. But I remember trying our Define Way chocolate when we first got it in. I was like, dang, this is good. And I was like, is this different? And we tried an old one. It was like, it tastes like it's got the same flavor, but just less of it.
Yeah, like not as strong.
Yeah, it makes sense. It kind of fades over time. So, but being in the storage units, they're temperature controlled, so it keeps you within a range, but it's not as close of a range. It's not like storing it like in the store where it's always 70 degrees in there.
Right. Except for Yukon.
Yeah, I mean, that one is currently 50 to 60 degrees. So because
we don't have heat. So we're still chugging.
That has been fun. We got some space heaters in the back cranking. And
that's right. We're surviving.
Yeah. But so we've got, some of them in storage, and through the summer, I think it just hit, enough days at the cap on that temperature in those storage units that it just turned the flavor a little quickly. Luckily, we didn't have a crazy amount of inventory left on those, but we started to kind of notice it, and it was starting to happen like way more frequently. And we started testing some ourselves, and we're like, no. We're not even sure what happened, but let's pull it.
Pull them.
Put the new stuff in. The new stuff is awesome.
Super awesome.
Even made like a couple of tweaks. Very, 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 very minor tweaks.
Yeah.
But I love the new stuff even more than the old.
Those are new tubs.
The new tubs look so nice. Good. Yeah. But man, I think that was the right call. It is moving. If you look at the numbers, and there's a couple factors to this, but it is moving faster now than it was with the old stuff. But made a good call. So that being said, we don't want that to happen again. So we are looking at, are starting to look at temperature controlled warehouses that would obviously be able to keep your temperature within a much closer range.
Smaller margin.
Right. That, and it would just make it easier as opposed to having things spread out amongst a handful of storage units. When you look at what it is in rent, it ends up being very close as well. Like, it's not that much of a jump from the storage units to a warehouse. We'd be able to take deliveries there.
You're missing a super important point.
What's that?
It's also fucking dope.
Yeah.
It's also super cool.
Yeah. To say we have an official Define Nutrition warehouse.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cut you off too much here, but I'm just going to have you take a second and think just like, did you ever, like, I know we dreamt of that being a thing, but now it's like an actual thing. It's not a pipe dream anymore. It's not like a one day, maybe this will happen if we do everything right. It's like we did enough things right that like this is actually a legitimate thing. And you can go back to talking about the temperature control, but I just want to say, like, I know everybody on staff is super excited about it because I think it becomes, especially, it is a very, no pun intended, defining moment for Define Nutrition of like, it is a finish line crossed.
Yeah, it is an official warehouse. And obviously, you anticipate for the warehouse to grow and have to potentially move into new spaces, but it is officially a warehouse. I know we called the storage units our unofficial warehouses, but like this is a different level.
This is HQ1.
Yeah, HQ1. It's gonna be cool, man. But it just makes it genuinely starts to make a lot of sense. Like, as cool as it is and much as we would want to just do that, it, like, when you look at all the factors, it genuinely is like, this is a better option than what we are doing now. I know, especially with Ian really starting to gain some traction with wholesale.
Dude's killing it.
He, I don't know if we've mentioned or not, it just happened in the mix of everything else, but he got his first sale. Yeah.
Did we talk about his trip? I think we mentioned it about him. He made a trip to some retail locations that we sell Define Nutrition at. He got to travel to Kansas as well as Colorado, and so I know he was super excited to do that. Is the second ever Define Nutrition wholesale trip.
Yeah.
So pretty cool thing for him, and a very spaced out in between a number of years. But it was a super cool opportunity for him, and I know he had a good time, and it is. He also realized that it's a grind.
Yeah, it is. You're going nonstop for a bit.
Amen.
Yeah, I don't. I've actually never been on one myself. You've been on one. You went with Chad back in the day. I think we
did.
talked about that a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah, we went to we left Oklahoma City, and this was over a weekend, a single weekend. We went Oklahoma City to Fayetteville, Arkansas, to Springfield, Missouri, to Columbia, Missouri, to St. Louis, Missouri, to the Illinois side of St. Louis, up into like Evansville and stuff like that. Then back to St. Louis, stayed. I don't know. We didn't. We got gas in St. That's all one day. We'd stopped at like 14 stores. We got gas in. I remember us getting gas in like Fenton, and then hitting the road and going to Kansas City. Drove to Kansas City. Stayed at Jeff's house, the guy who owns one of the guys who owns all the franchises, supplement superstores in Kansas City.
Our old manager.
Slept on his couch in his floor. Went to all the supplement superstores in Kansas City, which was like at the time I want to say 5 or 6, and then hit the road back down to Oklahoma City. And so it was like in 2 days I think we did 1,300 miles in like 21 stores.
That I think Ian hit. Yeah,
it's still like to give you an idea. We were so brain dead by the time we got back. Apparently, I left my lights on or something on my car. My car was dead. I hooked up. We were jumping my car, and I hooked up the battery terminals backwards on the jump, and almost ruined Chad's car. So, yeah. And I don't know a ton about cars, but I know at least what I'm doing when I'm jumping a car. But I was not there.
Yeah, we both got about that brain dead over Yukon build out.
I'm still there, man. Yeah,
dude, I still have not recovered.
Yeah, well, you had just as busy of a day as I did today, so it's like I was thinking about the other day, or it was like how many, we were 10 hours on Monday, 12 hours on Tuesday, 10 hours on Wednesday, 10 hours on Thursday, 12 hours on Friday, 10 hours yesterday, or 10 hours on Saturday, like 9 hours on Sunday, and then about 7 hours today, and then gym straight here. So it was like, yeah. I just went straight into, we did build out, ending late on Thursday, to open on Friday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you and I, right into a day where I had to visit every single store and the storage units, and throw a haircut and a workout in there too. Yeah, right.
I was making the joke, but I was like, I had to check in with a couple of people, as I'm stopping at different stores. I was like, hey, I have to leave at 1:30. If you are mid-sentence 1:30, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, just so you know, I mean it. I'm leaving at 1:30. Dude, for real though.
But yeah, I know you were getting a kick out of it, but I could not figure out the word for magic erase marker.
No, you just said it wrong again.
Clearly, I'm still brain dead. I was calling it dry erase.
No. Just stop. What he's trying to reference is a Mr. Clean magic eraser, which cleans walls and floors and such. And he keeps calling it a magic erase marker. And then I was like, that's wrong. And he's like, oh yeah, you're right. Dry erase marker. And I'm like, we're not freaking talking about markers, you idiot. We're talking about a sponge.
Why can't it be an erase marker?
Oh man,
I'll get a good night's sleep tonight, and I'll come to you tomorrow. I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah, sounds nice. Yeah, because Laurel and I are back at the gym at 5:30 a.m. tomorrow.
Right back to it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Does not stop, man.
Yeah, 9 to 6 tomorrow in the store, and yeah,
dude, it's I believe, man, it's a lot of times like this where you just like you're at what you think is your limit, and you just keep pushing.
Yep.
Is when you really start to make big strides, man. And I know for me, this is a good example, because, how many times have we all had to do this over the years of just day after day after day after day, and you hit your limit and you have to do 3 more days.
Yep.
I know when we first started Build Out, we ended up we were going to do a little whiskey cigar night over here with some of the guys. Mm-hmm. And, but we got permission to start our Build Out a couple days before, and was like, I think we need to prioritize this. Sorry, guys, but we're going to have to postpone it. And I had a cigar that I bought at the golf course a couple weekends ago. I didn't smoke it because I played the best game of my life, and I didn't want to do anything to...
You did play a great game.
Yeah. We can get into that on another episode. We'll cover that. Episode 10, Kevin's fantastic golf game.
Yeah. There we go.
But it's in this like little tube, and it has one of those little packets to keep the humidity right in the little tube. And it was just sitting on my desk, and I haven't smoked a cigar, honestly, I think since Patrick was on the podcast. Yeah. So it's been a month.
Yeah.
And I would see it, you know, when I'd set my stuff in the office every night, I would see that cigar sitting on that, and I was like, once UConn is open. And it's like, we just got to keep getting after it.
Go.
And that cigar will be, I still haven't gotten to smoke a cigar, but it will be so sweet when we get to it.
Yep. Well, that's the thing, man, is it's like, especially now it's been a couple days, you know, we went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now on to Monday. It was just another day in the store. You know what I mean? You want to pour me some more too?
Hey, we got to get to the next one.
Yeah, I don't know about if I'm going to be drinking any more than that one.
You want to cap it at one and leave this for next time?
I think so.
That's probably not a bad idea.
I was like, I didn't eat dinner.
I was starting to get into college Kevin mode where I was like,
more, drink more. Yeah, if I drink that other one, I'll be stopping at Taco Bell on the way home. That's no good.
I will say,
you just want to finish pouring those.
My dad taught me when I was really young, probably before I could even drink, on how to pour a glass of wine, of like how you tap it on the glass afterwards.
Wow.
No, you do a little twist, and that helps with not being so many drippies.
Wow, incredible.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think capping it at one's probably a good idea.
Yep. Very optimistic. Buying two.
Yeah, you know, hey, it's still. I must knock this over.
I'll put this one over here so people can, if you're watching the video.
Wow, how's that look on there, Ryan?
Perfect.
Perfect.
Nice.
But yeah, we. No, I get it though. Timeout. Kevin did shoot a 40 on the front nine.
I think we need to get into this. I need to hear.
Honestly, it was. I was even talking to Alyssa where we were both just on the same page of just like, nope, we're both just gonna shut up and just let him go. Like we weren't telling him. I was keeping score, he wasn't, and I was like, nope, not telling him anything. Just gonna let him keep playing. We were playing with a random too. We had a single get paired with our group.
That guy was really cool.
He was super cool. A very good golfer too. Yeah, we're golfing and we get to the first tee box and like he tees off and hits a good shot. We all hit good shots. Like it was pretty good first tee box for sure. And then he pulls out some like Titleist blades, and I was like, okay, here we go. I don't think this guy's a lot better than we are. I can already tell. And so he was actually really cool because he was the right amount of helpful, but not like overbearing. Where he was just like, hey, you know, if you did this with your putter, or if you did this with that, like you would, you know, it might help a little bit. And so it was just the right amount of like help from like a guy who probably on his day when playing regularly is probably close to a scratch golfer. Like he's probably a sub 10 handicap for sure. And so getting to kind of like listen to him and watch him without him, and he just kept being like, you can tell me to screw off, but like, you know, this might help. And I was like, yeah, I'll take anything you want to say.
He was also really cool. You'd hit a good shot and he'd be over there clapping for you.
Right.
So
yeah. And then if he hit a bad one, he was like, oh no, it happens. You know, like,
yeah,
he was cool. He was a super cool guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kevin had a legit front 940, which is, it's pretty cool, man. That doesn't happen often.
Never happened to me before.
No, yeah, never happened to me before either. Ryan's like, 40 on the front nine. Like, oh, what happened? Was it windy?
No, that's very good. I mean, I haven't had a 40 in years, so.
Yeah, it was, he did well. Back nine wasn't as nice to him, but still good. You still shot, you shot well under 50 still on the back. You ended up with like
86, I think.
86, like but like a legit 86 too. Like it was, we weren't messing around.
I think it's, that's what always keeps me coming back for golf is that, you have those days where it's like, all of your clubs are good except for this one. It's like, man, if my chipping was just on today, I would have put together a perfect game. And just for whatever reason, it was just, everything was just on that day.
Was hitting.
Drives were all straight in the fairway. I think what really saved me on the front is I had 3 different approach shots over a bunker and just plopped them right within putting distance on the green, and then I had some really good putts too. So it was
super good putts.
It was just it all came together that day.
Yeah, your flop shots from like from like 30 to 80 that day was really solid. You were sticking them, you were darting them for sure. So it was good, leaving you some good putts, leaving you some easy, roll close tap in guys or pretty close tap ins too.
Yeah.
So you were doing very good.
Yeah, I had that one shot that was dogleg right, and I didn't realize that. I should have checked the distance, but I guess assumed it was driving distance. I think I rolled one up right by some guy's carts.
Yep.
I for a second I thought I ended up in the woods, and I was like, man. And then the guys were on the next tee boxes, and they're like, your ball's right there, right by the green, right where we were parked. Oops. Sorry, guys, but I'm hyped and embarrassed at the same time.
Yeah, right. It was it was a good day though. Very good day. It was a super fun day. It's an interesting thing when you get paired with a single too. Like it can go a lot of different directions.
Yeah, that's true. That guy was really cool though.
Yeah,
he was fun to play.
One of the best we've ever, if not the best we've ever had to kind of just like be a good partner.
He had played enough that he knew how to be a random partner, I think.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yep. Yeah. But what were we talking about before that? I got lost in your beautiful golf game.
Enjoying a cigar after UConn getting finished.
Yeah. What I was saying was it just today was the first day that just really felt like just another day in the store. Like it was like, oh yeah, this is what we do now. Like this is the store I work at, and these are the people that I'm getting to know, and it's been super cool. I had a lot of people who have like been recommended to us, so like obviously shout out to everybody who's been doing that. That's been a huge thing. Had a lot of really close people to us, like good friends, stop by and come and check it out. But like had a ton of people like, oh, so-and-so recommended that I come check you guys out now that you're in the area. And so been super cool to kind of meet all the new people and just kind of get a feel of what this store's going to be like in the community.
You mentioned the other day, because obviously the build out for this location was, we try and make them all about the same, but we had the shelving that we ordered ended up being lighter than we anticipated. So we ordered a little bit lighter flooring. Our flooring from our other 2 locations got discontinued anyway, so we're going to have to find new stuff. Okay, let's find a little lighter flooring to match the shelves. And then you pair in the ceilings are a little taller, so that because the windows the windows take up a lot more of the front of the store. It's a very bright store. You mentioned how much darker it seems in the other stores, which is crazy, which obviously they still look nice. And I don't think most people are going to even know because they're not bouncing from one store to the next. But I walked into Norman and I was like, Thomas is right. He said it looks like a log cabin in here, and it does.
Yeah, it does. It looks like a log cabin in there.
It's never looked that way to me in the past, but it is like, dude, that other store is bright.
It is a stark contrast when you're used to the like Yukon Mustang one, and then you go to like Norman, you're like, what? I don't think it helped that I walked in. I think Ian was wearing a flannel over his Triad shirt, and I was like, I'm in a gosh darn log cabin right now.
Welcome to the Big Blackberry Inn.
Yeah, right.
I'd be curious if you started at Yukon, went to Norman, and then Quell, if you'd continuously get darker and darker. Just with, because I know like when I'd go from Quell to Norman seems like a brighter store, partly because
it's smaller.
I think one is smaller, but also the flooring isn't as used and stuff like that. And like Quail, like the original flooring to what you see in the store is quite a bit different. Yeah. Just from years of use and all that stuff.
You, especially when Norman first opened, it did seem like a brighter store. And it's, the floors, they look fine, but then you pull something up that, like you pull up a mat that's been there since we've opened, and it's like, that looks different. Than you
Wait,
still
that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Where's all the black?
yeah, kind of like transition. Yeah, that's a good point though. I bet Yukon will kind of get darker as an oak.
I sure hope so, because my first thought today after sweeping and mopping for 45 minutes this morning was, it looks like I need to sweep and mop again, because the floors are so light that like you can see every single thing that shows up on there.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, all right, maybe we'll probably be adding an extra day of sweeping and mopping down in the Yukon Mustang store, because it'll need it.
There you go. You put together the
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. That's a nice thing. You guys control the to-do lists. If you need an extra day of something, you can throw it on there.
But it legitimately looks really nice. It is so bright in there.
Yeah.
Like but it does. It looks really nice. The light with the light floors, the light shelves, like all of it kind of comes together. And honestly, looks very nice.
Yeah, it does. I know a lot of people have asked, the size difference. I don't know if we've talked about it or not, but where Quail Springs is 2,000 square feet, and we've got a lot of office. And
is it really only 2,000 square feet? Because it still seems so much bigger.
It is.
Alyssa and I were talking about it. Like, it seems like it's 2,500 or something.
It's not 2,500. So you have to keep in mind that commercial real estate has changed the way that they measure their square footage. So it was like just over 2,000, like pretty even 2,000 when we rented it, but they used to measure from the inside walls. Now they measure from the outside walls. Rent went up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just this like commercial real estate, or people that own commercial real estate got together and they all decided, hey, if we all do it, they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, love that. Gosh, typical.
Yeah.
Because it definitely seems bigger than 2,000. If like Norman's 1,000.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm not 100% sure. I would assume that Yukon is measured the same way, where Quail, where it used to measure 2,000 square feet, now under the current guidelines, it's potentially measured at more of like maybe like 21 or 22.
Yeah.
So that might be the difference there, but it's at least originally it wasn't much over 2.
Sure.
But, obviously Norman is only just over 1,000 square feet, and the front is close to the same, but the back is tiny. And Yukon, I think I say it every single time I'm in there, that this is the perfect store.
Yeah.
Front and back. Front is perfect dimensions.
Yep.
Back is perfect amount of space. Plenty of room to grow into and be a fully functioning store.
It's the blueprint going forward, it seems.
Yeah, it's if we can get that, that's what we want to shoot for. So
for sure.
I was talking to somebody about it earlier today. About like, oh man, that's really nice, you found like your sweet spots. Like, honestly, that's about actually what we were shooting for the first 2 times.
Yeah.
But the location just ended up being where, man, this 2,000 square feet is just the perfect spot that will make it work.
Right.
This same for Norman was we were shooting for closer to 1,500, and we're like, man, this 1,000 square foot space is if we can make it work, it's worth it.
Right. It's like, this is the area we want to be in, and the 2 options we have here are 1,000 or 3.
Right.
3,000. We definitely don't need 3,000.
Yeah,
So
we hardly need 2 we did not need 2 at Quail when we first couple of years, first probably 3 years.
now it's nice to have and look back on, because
it's that warehouse.
We've grown into it for sure. But yeah, it's yeah.
We could have started
Norman
a lot
guys
smaller.
would be happy with a 3,000 square foot store right now. They would not be complaining at all.
That store might need to get moved into a bigger spot eventually, because it's funny that I've gotten the question I think a couple of different times about, especially new people coming on, and they just see the current state of Quail Springs store and Norman store. Quail Springs store is about twice as busy as Norman, and I think it was Will that asked. And I hope I'm not bringing up stuff we're going to really start getting into stuff that I'm not sure if we've talked about on the podcast or not. But he asked about if we thought Yukon was gonna potentially get as busy as Quail, and I'm like, man, Norman's potentially going to get busier than Quail, because when you really look at the population, Norman is the 3rd biggest city in Oklahoma,
Right.
and I didn't realize that until recently, and it just shows the potential for Norman that it's, where I've talked about before, it's only half as busy as Quail Springs, but it is growing twice as fast.
Right, exactly. It's like that. Those numbers, you fast forward 2 years at Norman, what does it look like now?
Right.
Well, now it looks like, it's starting to bridge that gap quite a bit.
But the new people coming on, they just see this is what it is.
Yeah.
This is what it'll always be. Yeah,
adjust
they
to
just
this.
have this little snapshot. And it's like, no, man, this is New Quail Springs had days where it had no customers.
Yeah, right. Right. Goodness. Yeah. Luckily, we haven't had to deal with that in a long time. Norman never went a day without a customer.
We did not. We almost did the day that it snowed, but
You mean the day that we didn't have power? Was that one of those days?
No, it was a different day.
We stay open for anything. I don't know if you guys are picking up on that. We literally don't have heat at the Yukon Mustang store, and we've just been chugging along with space heaters. At Norman, though, one time we literally did not have power because there was an ice storm out, and we stayed open. We just sat in the front window with a piece of paper on the door that said "open" and
Little light shining on it.
little light shining on it, and we posted on the story that we were open, and we made sales that day. So.
We did. We were having to, if you were running a card, you were having to call up to Quail Springs and run it on their POS.
Yep.
And then keep track of the inventory, or I can't remember what we were doing, but it was a not a traditional way of checking out a customer.
Nope. Yeah, because they come in and we didn't have power. And they'd be like, I'm surprised you guys are open. Like, me too, to be honest. But card, we can't run that, but I'll do it over the phone real quick if that's okay.
Well, we had just opened like months prior,
we
and
needed
it was,
it. We
it was
needed
like,
it.
dude, if we're closing down and we're just still trying to get going, man,
We don't ever close.
we really don't.
Yeah. It's like a sense of pride almost. It's like, we staying open.
I mean, I dig it. But I mean, it used to, when it was just the one store, it was easy because, if the weather got bad or there was bad situations, it was like, man, I'm working every day no matter what. It
Right.
just, and if employees are going to have a hard time getting up there, or there's issues or whatever, it's like, dude, I can just go up. Like I remember going up when there was a big ice storm and it lasted for a few days, and I just went up the first day because I was like, employees are a little iffy about getting out and driving. It's like, I get it, no worries. I don't personally mind driving. I'm going to be working anyway. I'll just go up there, hang out, open up the store, put a post
Hang
on the
out,
story.
work
Yeah.
anyway.
Put a post on the story. Like, hey guys, like roads are bad, be careful out there. Just heads up. Like if you are out and about and you're on some, I'm open. I'm here working, just hanging out. So, but be safe out there kind of deal. And we had a bunch of people come.
Yeah, it's nice of you to, when people weren't feeling safe to drive, like the employees, that you were willing to go up there and work, because I'm sure those employees just stayed home and didn't go anywhere that day, which is nice of you for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what were we talking about with Norman? No, the day that it, no customers, we barely got by with, because there was one day that it snowed pretty bad, and it was like real early on. So we weren't seeing a lot of sales in general. So, you give anybody, like you give a reason for 3 people not to come in, and that's our whole customer base. for the day.
Right. You can't tell those 3 people who would have today not to.
But yeah, it snowed, but like we were able to stay open, and like there were still people kind of out and about. And I think like we still had employees getting out and going to the gym and stuff like that. So we're like, well, and I know I was working Norman, and it was all day. I think we saw our first customer at like 8:30 at night. And I'm like, no,
Close at 9.
Yeah. No goose egg. That was the one time I thought we were going to go a day without a customer, and we didn't. So yeah.
I hate to do this, and we've never done this before. Episode 9. I'm impressed we made it episode 9. I have to pee so bad that I'm going to go pee. You guys just talk amongst yourself. Okay.
We'll take a little break.
No, it's okay. You guys keep talking. Sorry about that. That's our first time. That's our first potty break, but not bad. I need it. It was distracting me. But
Wine got you.
yeah, but something very important happened during this break, and I'm so excited. We couldn't help but notice while sitting here, I've got a pretty good angle to see into the office closet here, and I asked Ryan, I said, is that a bag of Sun Chips right there? And Ryan goes, yeah, there's some kind of Hot Pockets or like pies or something back here. I'm like, well, wait, what? And I go, Kevin, you hiding snacks in here? Kevin, are you hiding snacks in the closet here?
Yeah, I'll have to find a new hiding spot, but
She's not going to listen.
no, I know. But so
I'm
she
gonna come
actually
ransack you.
already knows. So the sun chips are mine.
Yeah.
The fruit pies, those are Alyssa's.
I'm a big fan of fruit pies, though.
It's
They're
been a
good.
while since I've had a fruit pie.
They're good.
I might sneak one later. The
I can grab you one real quick.
will pair well with this Pinot Noir.
Probably will. They are literally right there. What do we got? Cherry and
It
apple,
sounds
I think?
Italian, so
Hey.
Apple pie.
Thomas is Italian, so he can say that.
Yeah, I don't know why people listen to us.
But Alyssa and I do a cheat meal every Wednesday, and we get whatever food we want and get a little dessert.
Nice.
So I think there was one time we went to the grocery store. I was getting sandwich stuff, common cheat meal for me. Make me a nice big sandwich, and she for dessert got some fruit pies, but you got to buy them by the box. Can't
Yeah.
just buy individual at the grocery store. And obviously didn't eat all of those. And she asked me to hide them so that she wouldn't eat them the next day.
That's good.
And that's the hiding spot. I, with my sandwich, got some sun chips. And if I leave those out, she's going to eat them the next day too. So I put those up there too.
Can I just take a second? Because I think the rest of humanity would like to tell you something that a sandwich as a cheat meal is a move that a sociopath would do because that is not a cheat meal at all.
Dude, okay.
I second that.
Yeah. Nobody else. I tell your. This is. I actually do make fun of you behind your back regularly, but it's mostly only for a couple things. And I know that's just you just calm down over there. It's mostly for two different occasions. It's that Kevin's classic cheat meal is not like eat a whole pizza, you know what I mean? It's I had myself a turkey bacon sandwich and I had some sun chips with it too. Whoa. I'm like, dude, I eat that 3 times a week and I'm like, cool, sticking to my plan. Like, or the time I remember one time, maybe I remember this incorrectly or I'm just making it up. I don't care. I still tell it like it's real. Of like one time when you were like, you know what? I have a cheat meal, but I think I'm just going to eat my normal meal and then I'm going to go get an individual bag of Swedish fish and it's going to be really nice. Oh, wow. Kevin, no, a cheat meal is a whole pizza and a box of donuts, not a sandwich and sun chips, you sociopath. What is wrong with you? This is why you shouldn't be allowed to help people with nutrition.
Are we expecting much more though from the same guy that's had the exact same meal for the last 28 years?
Yeah, right. Yeah. He first started eating it when he was 2. Mom, can I have taco turkey and peppers and rice, please?
You guys forget that I changed my my turkey to chicken last year.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry.
How could I forget?
Yeah, what a monumental day. So Kevin is, for anybody who doesn't know, and I hate to just roast Kevin. Not really, I love roasting Kevin. But Kevin is to his core, is almost one of the only pure like food is fuel people that I know. Like, you just don't seem to care that much about food in general. You've actually said the words to me, and I know this, we're probably going to lose followers for this because we're going to be like, I can't associate myself with that Will Hype boy anymore. Is you said to me one time, I don't know if you still feel this way. It was just like, man, I just wish I could drink shakes all day. Then I wouldn't have to chew anything. You still feel that way?
Okay, I think that maybe I did say that at one point.
It's a yes still.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry. What? Like, maybe this is me. I'm super like, I love food. I'm a big like just food person in general. Where it's like, I just like the idea of that is just so audacious to me that I just go ahead, defend yourself. Let me hear it. Tell the people. Don't look at me. Look at them. They're the one you're answering to. Look in the lens.
I don't know how to defend myself.
Yeah, because it's okay, but it is a very interesting thing because you just there's very few people that I know who are like this that just don't have like the normal attachment to food that most people have. You know what I mean? I don't know what that's from. certain people obviously like just like different environments. Like Trace is a really interesting guy. Trace has zero temptation towards fast food, which like most people definitely deal with. And his biggest reason why is the town he grew up in, Indiana, doesn't have any fast food restaurants. So it's like he just like they just was no going through McDonald's. Like it just wasn't an option. So for the first 18 plus years of his life, that was never anything that he ever associated or like was input into his brain at all. And it's very interesting, but it definitely develops a different association with that. Where like, have you ever seen Trace eat fast food in your life? Because I've never seen Trace.
He's always got something that's homemade that Sadie made that he's bringing leftovers for.
Like maybe pizza or something like that. But I've never seen Trace like go through a McDonald's or Taco Bell or even like a Chick-fil-A or something like that. Like never.
I can't picture him with like traditional fast food. But it was very common that he would bring like a glass dish. Like even if when it was pizza, it was like homemade pizza.
Yeah, Sadie makes homemade pizza. Actually, and it's a freaking bomb.
Oh, I bet.
She makes the dough. Like she made like homemade. Last time I was over there for dinner, it was like homemade buffalo chicken pizza. Like made the dough, raised the chickens. It was incredible.
Raised the chicken.
Yeah, killed the buffalo. My God.
Wow.
Drained the buffalo of its sauce.
Yeah, thank goodness we're in Oklahoma. Otherwise, it'd just be chicken pizza.
That's right.
I don't know that. I don't think I was always like that. I think it came from bodybuilding prep and starting the business. It was just I was eat these meals throughout the day, and in prep and even in off season, it was like, man, I want to eat what's most ideal, and kind of got accustomed to that, and it actually made it easier, especially when it was you're doing 12-hour days back to back to back. It's I don't have to stop and think about what I'm going to eat. I don't have to, prep anything the night before. I don't have to go out or order anything, or it was just pop a meal in the microwave and eat while I'm working. So it's like most of the time when I'm eating throughout the day, I'm not even thinking about what I'm eating. Like I'm almost not even tasting it. It's just eat this meal. It's time for this meal. Eat this meal. Work while I'm eating. It's very rare for me to not be working while I'm eating.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that's very interesting about it, though, is that like you somehow managed to not only not get sick of that, but also you just like to hear the words like, I just don't even taste what I'm eating is just like to most people. I don't know if you just letting you know where you stand on the spectrum of these things. To most people, that is like alien. That is like most people are like, oh no, I'm going to like, because you eat some variation of eggs every single morning. I know that, where it's like the difference in amounts of different things. And then it is taco, turkey, and rice. The dog's broken again. It's taco, turkey, and rice, or taco, chicken, and rice with peppers. All the other times. And it's like for most people, imagining eating that more than like 3 times in a row, let alone like your variations from switching from turkey to chicken, from one poultry to another, is like you've done that how many times in a row, minus this one cheat meal a week you've literally done that for years and years and years. And so it is a very interesting thing because most people just do not live in a world where that's like a thing that's feasible.
I think once you've done it long enough, that's just life, and it just is what it is.
Yeah, but
at least for me,
like that's definitely for you. But it's like one of those things where I think that it's an interesting thing because there are so many people who find a lot of enjoyment out of food. So like you are essentially saying like, I go to the movies every time there's a new movie and I don't watch it. I just look at my phone the whole time.
I sit through it to say I can watch it.
Right. Like it's like a thing where it's like, oh, this is like for most people, it's like this is exciting. They're wanting to watch this. They're wanting to see this. They're wanting to taste their food and be excited about it. Where you have just gotten to the I'll say it, to the robot level of it's just sustenance. And it's like, and that's fine. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Most people do wish it was that way, but it is a very interesting thing because just most people just don't live that life. And I do crack up every time you tell me about your cheat meals because they are the most pansy cheat meals I've ever heard. Be like, oh, it was Wednesday. You had your cheat meal last night. What'd you have? It'd be like, oh, let me tell you about it. I had myself a Jimmy John sandwich, and ooh, doggy, was it good. like, oh,
I also turn into an 80-year-old man when I talk about my cheat meals.
yeah. It's like, oh, you had Jimmy John's and that was your cheat meal? That's interesting. I've had Jimmy John's twice this meal and I'm still counting that as sticking onto my plan, but that's fine.
It's cheat meals used to get kind of out of hand. Not out of hand, but like we're more the traditional cheat meals.
Yeah, as in like
Pizza, ice cream, burgers, that sort of thing.
the devil's food.
My kids might be fucked up.
They're so going to be fucked up. That's okay, though.
At least Alyssa's not like this.
1,000%. Yeah, you need one of you.
But
It's Callie to Chad, where Chad's like, food is substance. Callie's like, I want canes. Okay, good. You need yin and yang.
yeah. But yeah, it used to be those things, and it started getting, when you're eating obviously a clean diet and you eat, a whole pizza and a tub of ice cream, you don't feel great the next day.
Sure.
And
I get that.
I got tired of, because it's every Wednesday night, I got tired of every Thursday feeling like a piece of shit. And so I think I did a couple times.
First off, you're not a piece of shit for having a cheat meal, everybody out there. Kevin used a bad choice of words there.
I
He
did.
felt bad, like he physically felt bad.
That's a good,
You're not
yeah.
a piece of shit. You eat that tub of ice cream and you eat that whole pizza on your cheat meal. Maddie, you earned it.
That's a good point. That's not the way. I didn't mean it as like I felt bad about doing it. I literally felt like physically not well.
No, I get that. When I went through like my half prep that I went through and realized that this is the worst thing that anybody could ever do to themselves, I was literally like keeled over, hurting after I ate like a bad cheat meal.
Yeah, dude, it would just be like lethargic. Like I would feel like I'd be like bloated to the point where it was like my skin was like sensitive almost, and just like achy and just slow. And it's like I hate being this way every Thursday. So I started doing, from time to time. It's like, man, like, I always like getting a sub from Firehouse or Jimmy John's, or even making my own. And it's like, man, it's outside of the chicken and rice that I usually eat, so it's delicious. And like, I think there was one time where I went and got a cheat meal, or was deciding what to do for a cheat meal, and it was like, man, like, a burger and some chocolate chip cookies sounds really good.
Yeah. I remember when you used to do Five Guys a lot.
Yeah, Five Guys. I'll still do Five Guys. I'll still do some crazy stuff. I don't. I don't limit myself. That's a big thing for me. It's like, I don't. If I tell myself I can't have those things on cheat meals, then it's like, then it becomes a problem.
Yeah,
but if it's free range, I can do whatever I want. But I've gotten to the mindset where it was like a burger and chocolate chip cookie sounded good, but it was like I think it was maybe like a sandwich from Jersey Mike's, and and then a couple chocolate chip cookies from there, or maybe like a brownie from there or something like that. I was like, man, that sounds equally as good. It's like, why would I choose the burger over the sandwich? So that's what I got, and I've been doing that a little bit more, and it's just as satisfying for me, and I don't feel like crap the next day. So
I get that.
yeah.
I get that. I'm curious. I just want to, we're going to run a little gamut here of a couple things. And I just want you to put like, does anything that is not in a Tupperware container that contains like taco chicken, peppers, and rice, do you consider to be a cheat meal at this point? I'm just going to throw some.
I consider it to not be on my diet. It puts me past my regular calorie amount, macro amount.
What about a grilled chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A? Is that a cheat meal?
It would.
If you say yes, I'm gonna fucking quit.
So for me, it's not like where it's like rice and chicken. That is
anything that's not on your plan is a cheat.
Yeah, and it's like obviously so I've done like where I've been like either out and about or doing something, and or didn't pack enough meals or something like that, and I'll stop at like Chipotle and I'll get like a bowl and stuff, and
chicken and rice and peppers.
Yeah.
A little razzle dazzle. Put a little.
I did
lettuce on it.
So I didn't bring all my meals with me. So we went to St. Louis 2 weekends ago, and I brought some meals with me, but didn't bring all of them because I knew we'd be kind of eating out,
living on the edge.
and we stopped at Chipotle, and I got myself a bowl, all my regular stuff in there.
Break that down for us real quick.
Anthony could not believe that I got cheese in my bowl.
Wow, I can't believe you got cheese in your bowl. You sinner.
So was this queso or shredded cheese?
Shredded. Yeah, 1,000%. He could queso. Get out of here.
One could hope for him.
I know. I get it. You know, it's really interesting because you do all this and you don't look that great. I don't know. Is it really worth it?
Here's the kicker: is I would look like total shit if I didn't do it. I guess.
Yeah, man.
You should see me when I don't eat this way.
You should see me when I have a queso once a month. Oh man, it's so funny because. No, I get it. Let me ask you this. So, maybe I want to take you as the main character in this out of this for a second. If you were writing Ryan a meal plan, okay, and he was short on meals that day, and we're not talking like a macro specific, like you didn't give him exact numbers, it was just like kind of general, and he went and got a grilled chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A, would you have considered that a cheat meal or as part of his as part of his plan?
It depends on the person. I'm different. I give a different amount of leniency with everybody.
Ryan, it's Ryan.
It's Ryan.
This one right here.
Just to put something in there, I would have gotten a spicy grilled chicken sandwich.
Yeah, important point.
Yeah, definitely a cheat meal. Then. It depends. Anytime I that I'm writing a plan, I always get an idea on how strict of a plan can this person follow.
I understand. I know
Where
I'm
are you
bagging you
coming
in a
from?
corner here.
If it were Ryan, just based off of what I know about his diet, I'd probably say no, because I know that would be something that he would probably be able to follow on a regular basis.
Yeah. Ryan, if you ever
Realistically.
smell a Chick-fil-A, you're cheating. Don't even get close to it.
I cheated 3 times before coming here. Then. And I'm not joking.
I am a little jealous from time to time when you guys will order. You'll be at the store and it's usually Alyssa, Ryan, and Anthony,
Yeah.
and they're all like, "Oh, what are we doing for lunch?" You're like, "We do Chick-fil-A. Should we do Qdoba?" I'm like, "Man, that sounds nice to be a part of that," but then I'm not.
You could be though.
Yeah.
I could be, but
Yeah. See, here's the thing. So I don't run a overly specific nutrition plan or anything for myself, but I've been trying to cut and I've lost about 25 pounds, which is good, but I haven't had quote unquote cheat meals unless you're holding myself to Kevin's standard. Then every meal I've eaten is a cheat meal. But if I'm in a pinch or something like that, or if I'm driving in one of my various places, like a Brahms, Chick-fil-A, even Whataburger grilled chicken sandwich can definitely be like a staple into my nutrition, because it's one of those things where it's for me, I think it's more of not choosing the burger, not choosing the thing that I shouldn't be eating. It's oh, I can get this and I can get this at any time that I need to, and this is still something that I'm making a much better choice than what I could be making by getting a burger and fries and all that kind of crap.
yeah. No, I know that's something that I had to be ultra conscious of when working with people in the store and helping them with meal plans of they're not going to stick to something as strict as I will. So being able to give a little grace and write some plans where it's hey, we've picked out some foods that you like to eat for lunch. We've picked out some foods that you like to eat for breakfast. For dinner, you're eating with your family, you're cooking something different every night. Just make sure you're doing, this portion of protein, this portion of carbs, this portion of veggies, and just leave it at that. As long as you can hit those, we'll be good.
Yeah.
So, but I know I've had to I've a lot of times I naturally want to fall into that mindset of okay, well, chicken and rice at this meal, eggs at this meal.
You're good, right?
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. I think that because you do understand it well, though, you could still have the conversation with people who do have the actual emotional addiction to certain food things. I think that is a genuine thing. I talk about it a lot in the store. Is that poor eating is more of an addiction than a choice a lot of times for people. And I don't think that always people grasp that it's like, there are times in my life and many people that I know where it is like, you genuinely feel powerless to like not be stopping somewhere to get food that is like unhealthy for you. And it's a really interesting thing because like, I'm glad you have the ability to do that, to like kind of put yourself in somebody else's shoes, because that is a harder thing than people realize. Like depending upon your background and how you grew up and different like factors in your life that apply to it, like, man, there are like legitimate cases. I've talked to people who have definitely struggled with these kind of things before, where it's like they legitimately, it wasn't like like Taco Bell sounds good. It was like they were in a situation where they legitimately felt powerless against doing it, where it was like, it is a very interesting thing because the way that food, especially, cheap foods, like work in your brain is very similar to how like a lot of drugs work and a lot of like serotonin and norepinephrine and like just essentially like neurotransmitter pathways. It's like the more you abuse that pathway, the stronger that pathway gets, and it becomes a point where like when you are craving, you're feeling down or like whatever's going on, your body will crave so hard that it like legitimately feels like a drug addiction for some people. Like literally, it's, I don't know if it's the equivalent, I've never been addicted to heroin or something, but like where people are like, the analogy would be like, imagine driving down the street, which like you see fast food and all these food places and all these things on the left and right of almost every road you drive on. And it's like be the equivalent of just being like drug dealers on every corner, like being able to get you your fix. And it's like, becomes a really big struggle for people that I have to talk about a lot of, why are people struggling with their weight? Is it that much of an emotional connection? Like, how do we kind of pivot through those kind of things? Because that can be a massive thing for people. And that's where like I do a lot of just kind of diving into that a little bit more, where you do a lot of like red, yellow, green, because people who fall into that like cycle of emotional eating, when they feel like a failure, they're going to crave worse the next day because they're going to dump their serotonin levels. They're going to dump their, dopamine levels, whatever. They're going to dump those levels because they don't feel good now, because they feel bad about what they did yesterday. And it's actually going to trigger them to do it again today.
No, you've brought a lot of insight to that to me as well. And I've always understood like everybody's got a different level of ability to stay strict with what they're eating, but you like bringing in hormones to the whole factor and understanding that has shed a lot of light and helped me understand what it is truly like for at least some people.
Sure.
That I really like that red, yellow, green system that you've kind of come up with. You started really talking about that a lot, really kind of like as I was not really working in the store too much anymore, but big fan of that, or even systems that are similar to that.
Right. So, well, because the overall idea is, like if you felt powerless to avoid the Taco Bell drive-through, but you decided to go to Chipotle that day, you won. That was a victory, not a loss. And so people get into that mindset where we need to be starting to build positive affirmations in their own head about like how they're doing on their diet. They're not cheating, they're not failing, they're making better choices. And even a small better choice than what you would have normally done in your normal like addiction mindset or addiction like pathway that you normally go through, anything better than that should be counted as a victory. And then we can start building on those good positive thoughts of like, hey, I normally would have gone through McDonald's or Taco Bell, but I decided to go to Qdoba today.
I think an important thing to understand too is that I didn't go from eating whatever to what I'm at right now. I'm
not applying all this to you. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I think it's important for people to know that I just didn't like all of a sudden just decide.
He was born this way. He's a freak.
What was I going to say? Gosh, I totally lost my thought.
You kind of work towards this over time and different things that you've done?
No, it was before that. What were you talking about?
I was talking about red, yellow, green, and kind of like building upon like positive affirmations to themselves as opposed to, because what happens is you have these different plans that exist, right? And I'm going to pick on one particularly, but like I don't mean to pick on this one particularly because I think there's a general misconception of how this should work. It's going to be 75 hard. I think 75 hard, I think people misconstrued as a weight loss program, and it's not a weight loss program. It is, sure, it's a stick to a diet program, but more importantly, over anything. You lose weight during 75 hard, but it is a mental toughness program. And I don't necessarily think people who, I shouldn't say it like that. I think that there are going to be struggles of people who are maybe dealing with like the emotional aspect of this and the hormonal aspect of this to then just try to jump into a mental toughness like realm where like if you miss taking a picture you failed is not necessarily the move that I would personally
If
recommend.
the main goal is weight loss.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and just in general, it's like sometimes having a little give is like an okay thing. Obviously, you know, Andy Frisil is very big on just like this is a hard line, and that's fine too. If people want to do it that way, I totally get
That
it.
works. Some people have to go more cold turkey.
1,000% people have to go like, if I do this, I fail, and I don't want to fail. And so it's like for me though, it's more of like, oh, let's have a little bit of gray area and a little bit of leniency in the correct areas, and that allows people to kind of still be successful through this.
Potentially create more of a habit of something that is more sustainable long term.
Because here's the thing, if you take somebody who like every time they feel like they fail or every time they eat bad, they start to get into the spiral of low neurotransmitters. Like what does not taking a picture and failing your entire program because you forgot one technically small aspect of it due to your mental chemistry, like your brain chemistry, like probably not good stuff.
So, question. Let's say you were to eat something that, like, let's say you have, you know, your plan because you're following, you know, your general guidelines, your structure, and you've lost a lot of weight. You're looking very good, by the way. I know a lot of people have given you compliments. I see you on a day-to-day basis, and I've noticed a difference.
Yeah.
But it's cool to hear from people that only see, you know, once a month or every couple of months or something like that.
Yeah.
But let's say you went and had a meal that did not fall within those guidelines. What is your emotional response to that? What is your mindset after that point?
For sure. For me, it's like this is where I think this is a good example because and that's a good question. Is like for me personally, I do pretty well of like just riding the ebbs and flows of it. I feel like, but I know some people don't necessarily handle that as well, and so that's where stuff like that became difficult. Like a good example is I know a friend who was doing. And I don't mean to pick on 75 Hard. I think 75 Hard is a good program for what it's designed for, but like who's doing 75 Hard was playing like soccer at like just like a men's league kind of soccer thing. Someone threw him a Jello shot and he ate the Jello shot, and he was like, oh dang, like, and he was like 30 days in and just like wasn't thinking about it and decided to go on like a fast food and drinking binger that night, right? Because like, why not? There's no repercussions now. You failed. And so he goes off the deep end. And it's not to say that everybody would do that, but a lot of people do. It's like you just failed. So now this thing that you've worked 30 days on or however long, you just failed and it just gets pulled out from you for one reason. Or I'm going to use the example of not taking a picture because I think that's something that like people can, you don't eat a bad meal by mistake, but like you forget to take a picture by mistake.
Yeah, that's a common one that people forget to do in 75 Hard.
Right. And it's like you pull the rug out from somebody then, and then they're like, oh, I failed. And it's like, let me ask you this. If you have somebody who through 30 days has been positively affecting their lives, positively building in the correct direction, and they forgot to do one minute thing, and the chances of them now going on a bender is like much higher than them hopping back on at day one.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a flaw that kind of exists there.
So
for certain people.
Yeah. So that's I think a big difference for me, and it's probably because I don't necessarily follow a particular program like 75 Hard or a particular diet or anything like that, is that my response is almost the opposite of that. Of if I, for whatever reason, like I just have, you know, a weak moment and Alyssa's grabbing some food and I'm like, you know what, I'll just do food from here instead of eating the meal that I'm supposed to. It's pretty rare. But if something like that were to happen, like, you know, I got to stop at Chipotle and I got to, you know, I'm getting a bowl and I'm like, I can stick to my plan perfectly with this. And I'm like, you know what, throw some cheese on there.
Right.
And it's the, and maybe this isn't the greatest thing, but I think it's kind of helped in a way of like, there's like some regret afterwards.
Sure.
Where it's, I know my plan and it's ongoing. It's not for, you know, a certain period of time or anything. Is my plan is just, this is what I want to stick. This is what I'm sticking to indefinitely at this moment. You know, I can always change. I can always change it. I can always tweak with it.
Right.
But when I do something that's not on that plan, I have a certain amount of regret. Sometimes way more than I should, but to be like, man, I got to get back to it. I'm like,
Sure.
I've got to get back to what I was doing, hey, it was just that, got to get back to it. I got to make sure I don't do that again.
Right.
It's kind of the emotional response if I do fall off my plan.
Well, and I feel like you're in a situation where it's like, if you do something like that, you're like, okay, cool. This is going to count as my cheat meal this week. Right. Or something along those lines, where for a lot of people, I do know more people who kind of go the opposite direction of like, well, now that they've done 30 days, and now that 30 days is up, and they have technically failed, they just go they swing the pendulum far the other way, mostly because they're feeling bad, they're feeling guilty, and people, when they're feeling bad and feeling guilty, typically you're going to deal with more cravings. Again, when you're feeling bad, that means that we're typically low on neurotransmitters. We're low on neurotransmitters, and our brain notices that. Our brain wants to increase our amount of neurotransmitters. It's going to look for its easiest path to get it. And for a lot of people, especially people who deal with weight issues, the neurotransmitter path that's going to be easiest for them is going to be craving bad food, because that is going to give them the neurotransmitter dump that they're looking for, cheap and easy and quick. And so your brain, you at this point don't crave food as badly as somebody who is first starting out on a nutrition plan.
Oh, so when I definitely made like a big big step, from just generally meal prepping healthy food and following certain meals throughout the day, but kind of just making sure I'm getting enough protein and carbs to this is exactly what I'm eating. And that jump for me, I know the first week was rough.
Sure.
And I think part of it was I'm not allowed to have this, so it makes it, I want it even more.
Sure.
But of course I'm having to go longer periods of time without being able to have those foods. Second week was easier, but still a little rough. By the third week, it was, I'm fine.
Right.
But I know for me, there is, I don't know if it's necessary, if it would be dopamine or serotonin, but there is being able to stay strict on my plan. If I'm hitting all my workouts, I'm hitting all my rolling and stretching.
The source of it.
I'm hitting all my meals. I know I'm going to be seeing better results with all the effort that I'm putting in.
Right.
That for me is a sense of fulfillment for me, being able to stay
1,000%.
strict for longer periods of time. So when I hit really good stretches and it's like, man, I've done, X amount of time where I have had zero mess ups. I've got my scheduled cheat meals, but those are worked in.
Right.
I have not, I have not done a single thing outside my plan. There's a sense of fulfillment with that. Yeah.
Well, and yeah, for sure. And I think that that's a thing. Again, if we're looking at somebody who, I recommend, I'm not talking, I'm just going to, I know I've said this a couple times, but I'm just going to make the statement that I don't think 75 Hard is a bad program.
Yeah.
I think it's just a misconstrued program at times where I know plenty of people who do it are super successful and it changes their life. And there's an obvious reason why it's popular, but we're starting to take there's a certain demographic of people that I think can definitely struggle, and it might not be the best day. I don't know if I'd personally recommend it.
Yeah.
But that's, not up to me.
I think that's why Andy wrote a book on it, was because there were a lot of people that were treating 75 Hard not the way that it was intended to be treated. And I haven't read that book, and don't know everything about it, but I think kind of falls in line with people are using it the wrong way.
Right. Because that's the thing, is it's we're trying to, not I have a plan to preach about, but it's when I'm typically helping somebody, I'm trying to build positive affirmation, where it's hey, let's continue to make small incremental changes, where it's I'm not asking you, if going to Taco Bell is a red, eating chicken and rice at home is a green, and going to Qdoba is a yellow. I'm not asking you to change all the reds in your life to green. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is counting every red turned into a yellow as a victory. We need to start, because here's the thing: if we do that and you feel good about it, and now you're talking about hey, I'm actually sticking to this, I'm actually doing well, I'm actually starting to do it, it starts to become a source of neurotransmitters, not something that depletes it whenever you don't do well. You're doing well by even just making these small incremental changes, and it's oh, you went a whole week when it was sure, when you were in a pinch, you decided to eat a Whataburger grilled chicken sandwich as opposed to a Whataburger cheeseburger. Cool. Victory. And it's you decided to eat a Brahms grilled chicken sandwich versus a Brahms burger and a shake. Victory. And now it's you're starting to feel good about the results that you're going beginning, just like you're talking about, we're starting to get people into a more like, it's all on a scale, but for their life, that same thing isn't like to your level isn't necessarily attainable for a lot of people.
I'm trying to change yellows to greens,
Right.
where changing reds to yellows does equally the same amount of difference.
1,000%. And a lot of times that's the starting spot where people should be starting at.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, we're starting to make a really big, one of the ones that I say all the time, and I think this is kind of funny, but it's like, if you're really craving a burger, like you would just do anything for a burger. Make one at home.
Yeah.
Make one at home. You know how many calories are in a McDouble?
I don't.
Almost 400 calories.
I need like.
Do you know how many McDoubles I can eat?
I was gonna say I need at least a few.
I could if you put 5 McDoubles in front of me right now, I bet I could eat all of them.
Yeah.
It's like not a problem.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those like I was working with somebody one time, and we were kind of breaking down the calories because he was explaining he used to be well over 300 pounds, and now he's like well under 2. So like done a lot of changes in his life, but like a go-to meal for him was 2 McDoubles, 2 McChickens, a large fry, and a Coke. And like that's not
sounds
good. Right. But it's like I've eaten that meal 1,000%. I've eaten that meal. That's not an outrageous meal. It is 3,000 calories on the dot to their website. Like that is 3,000 calories. And then you look at something like if I go make a burger at home the size of a McDouble, I don't know how I could fit that many calories into it.
Yeah.
Like something that I could eat. You go to a restaurant, you go to McDonald's, how many burgers do you eat? I could eat like I don't eat all burgers, but like I could eat 4 burgers, like no problem for McDonald's. Like McDoubles, feed me 4 of them. No big deal. Where are you at with that, you think? You think you need 4 of them?
I usually order if I'm doing like
Dollar menu guys.
I was gonna say dollar menu, but it's not really dollar menu anymore. Yeah. So yeah. I'd probably 4 would be the go-to. 4 and some fries.
4 sandwiches, right?
Yeah.
You make a burger at home, how many do you eat?
1, maybe 2.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so like what an interesting thing. And like tell me that one of those burgers is not half the calories of what you make, what McDonald's crams into those tiny little burgers.
Yeah.
The point of this being is like if you're craving a burger, make one at home.
Yeah.
And put almost whatever the hell you want on it. Like you could deep fry that thing and cover it in nacho cheese, and you're probably still saving calories versus going to McDonald's.
Yeah.
And it's like it's obviously more work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like it is a substantially better situation.
If cravings are the issue, if you've got the time and cravings is the main issue more than time, then put the little bit of work in.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think there might be something to be said to making it at home to potentially getting people to realize other avenues of like, if I'm just going to make something at home, I'll just go ahead and make some chicken and whatever, you know?
Right. 1,000%. 1,000. But I tell people this all the time. Like you're super craving. You are like, you know how many calories are in a Taco Bell quesadilla?
A lot, because there's cheese in there.
Yeah, it's like 450 calories for a Taco Bell quesadilla. You know how many Taco Bell quesadillas I could probably eat? You put 7 of those things in front of me, I bet I could eat all 7
Dude,
of them.
Alyssa eats like 2 or 3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And Alyssa is this barely bigger than Stanley. And so it's like, but again, if I went home and made the most mondo quesadilla that I could possibly make, no way is it as many calories as me eating 5 quesadillas from Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
So let me ask you a question. And I don't want just the answer, but I'd like a little bit of like an explanation
I'm
to
not
it,
very good at that. So
because
don't typically do that.
because I don't even know if there's necessarily like a straightforward answer with this one.
Sure.
But in your system of red, yellow, green, green being the best food out there, red being, just total junk, fast food, yellow being the in between. Mm-hmm. In your system, would you rather have see someone do 5 red meals and 5 green meals, or 10 yellow meals?
10 yellow meals.
and why?
I think I would probably pick 10 yellow meals just for purely of the mental aspect that somebody's going to deal with from that. If you're eating green meal, red meal, green meal, red meal, I think that somebody is going to naturally feel bad about it, right? And sometimes guilty feelings can be a positive thing, but I think when we're talking about somebody, we're specifically categorizing this to a specific like emotional eater who's like dealing with maybe some depression or dealing with some things, and they're particularly using food as like some way to get back into.
It's probably because they're eating green because they want to be better, but they're eating red as a not as a planned thing, but as I can't control it myself eating this food.
If we take the more reds we take off the table, the more reds we take off the table for anything, greens or yellows, the more eventual greens end up happening because you're not slipping back into it. I think somebody doing 5 and 5, like that's just an example, I think is a better opportunity to fall into the 10 red meals more than they have the opportunity to get to the 10 green meals.
I
would much rather be like, somebody's like, again, it's the idea. And I think this is like the same question formed in another way. I had a guy in when I was working in the store not too long ago, and he was talking about, I'm eating perfect. I'm doing this all the time. I'm doing this all the time. And I'm like, okay, great. Can you eat like this for the rest of your life? And he was like, no way. And then I'm like, and this is somebody I knew, so I was able to kind of be a little bit more candid with him. But he was like, I'm eating like this. I'm eating like this. And I was like, and he was like wanting feedback on it, and like genuine feedback and like honest feedback. And I was like, do you feel like you can do this forever? And he said, no. And I said, you're setting yourself up for failure then, right? Because if you can't do this forever, then like we're building a system that's not maintainable, obviously.
Build a plan to drop down to yellows.
Right. And so it's like, let's build you a plan where it's like, let's get you to all yellows. Let's get you, and then, because again, like if you're telling me, if somebody's going from, I think this is a good point. So from the time that I was about 9 until I was about 14, we ate every meal out. Every single meal. So like didn't really eat breakfast, would eat like school lunch and stuff like that, but every dinner was eaten out, typically fast food. So it's like I was like, as a family, we were eating fast food somewhere between 7 to 10 times a week, right? As like a super common thing. And that's like, and the more people I get to know, like the more that's not like outrageous for some people, you know what I mean? And I'm honestly like pretty lucky that I found like a healthier lifestyle and found like fitness and stuff like that. But it's like it is still 1,000% a problem that I deal with to this day because of those of those like lifestyle things, those lifestyle choices that were made in my family. But it's like you talk to people all the time. It's like I was talking to the same guy we were talking about the McDonald's thing, where it was like John was talking about like his family would like pizza Mondays, Golden Corral Tuesdays, like taco Wednesdays, like fried chicken Thursdays. And it's like they had this like regimen that they would do, but it was all just like bad food. And it was just like a consistent thing. And it's like you're just pounding that pathway in your brain of like, this is how you feel good. This is what makes you feel good. And it makes you feel better than anything else. And so again, like when we're talking about somebody in the long term, like I feel like when somebody has that like ability to fail and then fall off into a binger, just like, again, I hate to analogize this with like drugs, but I do think it is probably the most similar thing that we can talk about, where it's like, what do you hear about when people who like have been doing really well, or maybe they're going through rehab for some kind of addiction? It's an addiction. It's an addiction issue. And so it's like, if we're talking about it as an addiction issue and not just a food issue, it's like, how many times have you heard of addiction issues where like somebody's doing really good and they haven't done it for months, and then they fall into it one time and then they just like, they're on a bender again. And it's like the same kind of thing I think happens with food. So I would much rather personally have somebody do, I did 10 yellow meals and this is a sustainable thing that I could do forever. And it's like, cool. Like this is, you just saved 10 years in your life by like you eating Qdoba every day as opposed to eating Taco Bell every day. Cool. You just gained 10 years on your life.
No, I think it becomes a lot more sustainable that way too.
Right.
I would do the exact same thing.
Right. And sure, ideally, people having a bunch of greens is great, but
you're a lot less likely, like you said right off the bat, is you're a lot less likely you fall into all reds if you're 50-50.
Right.
And I feel like if you can get someone to all yellows, you have the door wide open to implement more greens in.
Right.
Yeah, work the greens.
And here's a really important factor of why that is, and I think it's a good point, is they believe in themselves.
Yep.
Right? Like more than anything, this is a mental game. That's all we're talking about. It's a mental game of getting over that.
Yeah.
Where it's like you get to a point where like you look at people like I'm sorry if I bring this up and it's not something you want to, but Ryan, like you've made a huge like change lifestyle wise that has gotten you to a point of like fitness being a paramount thing in your life. And it's like, I know I'm speaking for you and I hate to do that, but like, I'm sure a big aspect of that was like you believing in yourself that you could do it. And it's like you not falling into the rhythm of like eating bad or doing things you weren't supposed to do. It's just like you falling into the rhythm of doing things you were supposed to do. And now you're like, you're feeling good. And now you start doing some other things and you're like, oh, I'm continuing to feel good. Just like you were talking about earlier of like doing all these things. People start to find the belief and they start to see the, this is like, what's more important, intensity or consistency?
There you go. Yeah, it's all day long. When you're talking, like even if you just break it down to workouts, consistency over intensity every single day,
all day.
So one thing that you brought up that rings a bell is Taylor Davis talked about at one point and made a lot of sense. Taylor Davis is a friend of ours, owned a gym, does a lot of personal training.
Great guy.
Great guy. Had a kid recently. Don't get to see him as often, but understandably, he's a dad now. But loved the dude to death and had a lot of, was a big thinker. You know, he understood things well. But he talked about how people, if you, set a goal or you want to do something, like I know for me, like waking up on time and every morning, like, cause my schedule just gets like crazy. It's like, I want to try and create some consistency with the time that I'm waking up, where if you, like, if I say, hey, I want to wake up at 7 a.m. every day, and there's, a day where I, don't wake up until 7:30, I've got less trust in myself in being able to wake up at 7 a.m. the next day.
Right.
I don't trust that I'm even capable of it.
Sure.
And the more you do that, the more you lose trust of like, so when you apply it to, eating, as you get to the point, the less you're following that, the less trust you have in yourself to stay disciplined.
1000%, man. I think that's a huge aspect to this. Like it is that belief just in general, because here's the thing. And I know a lot of people who have dealt with like weight loss or just like life change, plans like this is they do it for a little bit and then maybe not seeing the results that they want to. And then this stuff starts to creep back into their lives. And that's easy. I will raise my hand as like guilty of that all the time. But it's that once we start to find the consistent aspect of it, even recently, I've had to kind of do a check on myself again sorry, Stanley. I've had to do a check on myself again. And that's why I kind of started to do my own kind of plan that I've done for the last like number of months was like, hey, I'm kind of allowed this stuff to kind of creep back into my life. I need to do something. And that's what's like, I've had like such an interesting thing because Laurel and I are doing it together where Laurel was like, well, what's a cheat meal? And I said, what's a cheat meal? Like, when you're cheating and when you're not. And it's like, sometimes that makes sense and sometimes that doesn't. And it's like, for me, I know that like there are certain things that like, I don't consider to be a cheat that maybe Laurel would, but it's more of like a mental game where it's like for me, I think a good example and vice versa. I don't think there's something wrong with either where like I would eat a grilled chicken sandwich right now, but I wouldn't eat a turkey burger. Because a turkey burger to me in my head is a cheat because I'm trying to replicate a cheeseburger and I'm not trying to replicate something right now. It's like we don't do cheat meals. We don't do cheat meals at all except for a dessert once a week. And a big thing for me is like I won't even buy like sugar-free or like I won't eat a lot of I won't eat like the Pop-Tarts and stuff at work that are like desserts that don't count, like because I'm fighting the mental aspect of this. I'm not fighting the like actual eating aspect of this. And so it's a really interesting thing because like to her, she wouldn't count a turkey burger as a cheat meal because like a turkey burger is healthy to her. And I'm like, no, but I'm emulating the thing I really want. And I'm trying to like toughen my brain at this point to like, I don't want to like, I want a burger. I'm not going to have a burger. Not I want a burger. I'm going to have a turkey burger because I'm making the like, for me personally, I'm making that like compromise.
It is funny how much stuff in the store is trying to replicate good tasting stuff,
Right. Which is totally fine. And I get
yeah.
why that works. But
Yeah.
like I'm doing a mental toughness and weight loss thing for me right now, not just a weight loss. Like if I was just doing a weight loss, that was it. But it was like these things started to creep back in my life. And I was like, no, I need to get mentally tougher on my ability to say no to certain things. And that's like a little bit further along in my journey for myself.
Yeah.
But it's like, so I'm not even having things that emulate things. I'm just trying to like stick to what I'm supposed to be doing. But again, like if I eat a grilled chicken sandwich, like that's not a cheat for me. Like I eat grilled chicken sandwiches from places regularly during the week, but it's like, that is like, okay, cool. That's not what I wanted. I chose the better option.
Right. Well,
Yeah. And I think that like, you know, again, kind of just getting on this topic a little bit more, it's like we start to see how much like, again, people, when they fail or when they do something bad, they start to spiral really quickly. And again, like I'm back to the point I was even mentioning to like Ryan and his stuff was like, because Ryan's made an awesome transformation in the things that he's done. And like we're saying, I'm sure a big part of that was just like the belief that it would work and the belief that you could actually do it and get there with it if you just stayed consistent with it. And sure, that doesn't always look like, and I don't know your story on it completely, but it's like, I'm sure that didn't look like taco, turkey, and rice every day. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, from the start, without knowing your red, yellow, green concept, it was very much that. It was,
Yeah.
oh, I want pizza, so I went and got this little flatbread that I could put in the microwave and
Right.
was half the calories and still just as delicious.
Scratch
stuff like
the
that.
itch, man.
And so it was very much a lot of just turning reds to yellows from the start and
Right.
dude,
consistency.
that's a tough thing too, and I know why. Like when I get cheat meals, I don't limit myself, and I've actually done better when I don't limit myself. But when I tell myself, oh, when I get cheat meals, I'm gonna eat cleaner ones. All I want is the really, really bad ones.
Right.
But if I say, hey, I've got no limits at all. These are the 2 times that I can eat whatever I want. I do a lot better. I end up making better choices because like, okay, cool. I can eat whatever I want. You know what? I would actually like to feel better the next day. So I'm going to eat something that isn't an entire pizza and a tub of ice cream. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So Ryan, just curious more on yours, like you kind of talked about, you know, just kind of changing those things in your life, just like going from reds to yellows. And it's like, it's a journey, you know what I mean? Like it's not something that like, I think when people do that, they realize that it's not going to be an overnight change. And that's the most important thing is it's like, I'd much rather, you know, improve an inch than try to run a mile today.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, from the whole point when I first started working out was I needed something to do that filled that itch. And then it was like, oh, I like what I'm seeing here. And so then I learned, well, I can do this to get even more there. And it was very much inch by inch, mile by mile. I slowly added stuff in and learned more and was able to turn reds to yellows, yellows to greens, and then was able to completely change everything.
You even look at like anyone that is extremely disciplined and with anything that they're doing, especially within the fitness realm of like whether you're a professional bodybuilder, whether you're, you know, a professional cyclist, whether you're, you know, competing in jiu-jitsu professionally, is that, you know, how many people start off training like the top competitor in their industry right off the bat. They start with a little, they enjoy it more, they add a little bit more. Oh, you know what helps actually make you, you know, could help you, you know, gain even a little bit more. Start doing a little of this, start doing all of that, and you add more and more over time. So
right. Well, because when we're actually looking at this, the red, yellow, green concept isn't red, yellow, green, right? It is red to orange. It's dark red to light red, light red to orange, orange to yellow, yellow to yellow, green, yellow. And then it starts to, but that's the thing is it's like, if we inch by inch by inch by inch by inch, we look back one day and it's like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Like a good example for me, like one of the challenges that I made for myself was like, obviously we do dessert once a week, but like, I don't struggle with dessert a lot. I'd much rather, my problem's a burger. You know what I mean? Like
salty over sweets, huh?
For sure. And so like, that's my issue. It's not necessarily like me sitting down and eating a bunch of donuts. It's like left to my own devices, I'm going to eat fried chicken sandwiches day after day after day. And so for me, I'm obviously doing something a little bit different, but my thing was to like challenge myself and to believe in myself that like I could go 3 months without having a cheat meal. Like I can go 3 months without eating any of those things that I really want.
That's impressive.
And it's like, and that's been like a super tough thing. But again, what it has shown me through this time is that like, I really can go without it. And there's like a lot of things. We are super blessed. God bless America. We live in Oklahoma. And the nicest thing about Oklahoma is 24/7, 365 days a year. At least I think 365, close to it. You can get a grilled chicken sandwich at any moment, at any time, thanks to Whataburger. And so, but here's the thing. If we, tonight, we've had a little bit to drink. We've been talking, whatever. I didn't eat dinner. It's now 9:40, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, I need to get some. I need to eat something, and I don't have anything at home right now ready to eat. I'm gonna be like, okay, well, what are my options right now? I'm not gonna go to bed hungry because that's also not a good idea. So it's like for me, we have the very awesome opportunity where I can like, okay, I'm just gonna run through Whataburger and I'm gonna grab a couple grilled chicken sandwiches, and I'm gonna feel okay about it. I'm gonna feel good. I'm gonna feel like, okay, cool. Tonight would have been a night that like after having a couple drinks, after, hanging out, it being late, me being really hungry, that like one of those vices would have happened. A good chance one of those vices would have happened. Yeah. And it's like, we at least have the opportunity here right now where it's like, I can go without that because I know I can make a good choice, but it's like,
a grilled chicken sandwich is still satisfying. Like
1,000%.
To me, a grilled chicken sandwich sounds pretty tasty.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and I love them. I eat grilled chicken sandwiches all the time, and that's kind of the idea. Is it's like, again, it's like even at your lowest lows, even at the times when it's like this is when you absolutely normally would, is it's like making the decision to not making even if it's just a slight improvement of what I normally would have done. It's like, cool, I'll win. One that happened to me was we were on for a wedding down in Dallas, and like we'd been drinking and we had like a DD and they were taking us home, and I'm in a car with 5 other people, right? And they're like, we're starving. And I'm like, gosh, I'm starving too. And one guy goes, we want Taco Bell? And everybody's like, yeah, Taco Bell. And this is while I'm on my like thing. And I'm like, shit, right? Like I'm starving. We're about to go through Taco Bell, and it's like the Taco Bell, for anybody who doesn't know, is a big vice for me. Like I love me some Taco Bell, right? And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, like, and I've been drinking that night, like all those kind of typical things that like fall into the
make
like
it easier to say, all right, why not?
Totally easy to fail. And it's like, look, and it's like, you know what? And I'm like, get me the chicken power bowl. And it's like, it's not, again, here's the point. Like, is the chicken power bowl great for you? Probably not. But better than me getting the quesadillas and the crunch wraps and whatever that I really wanted that night. Sure. Is it's like I went red to yellow, and that felt like a true victory to me that night.
So I would like to clarify and clear my name from earlier, because I don't know if I got a chance to.
Ryan, can we cut the film? We're done. It's been 2 hours.
So on my cheat meal sandwiches.
Let's hear it. Let me guess. It's got cheese on it. Wow.
Yeah, it does. I do cream cheese. So, nice. It's like a whole grain bread, but like one that's like a real tasty one. I could get it because it's genuinely what I would want.
Yeah.
We do a layer of cream cheese.
Nice.
Get some turkey.
Is it Pabst cream cheese?
That might be a little inappropriate.
Different brand. Okay. Keep going.
Not Pabst, but some avocado, some lettuce, some bacon, some mayo on there. Wow. So it's the cream cheese and the mayo.
Wow.
And
really living on the edge.
I thought that was going to sound like a whole lot more like I was doing a cheat meal.
No, when you said whole grain bread, I
should have left that out.
You definitely should have.
Ryan, can we cut that so it sounds better?
I can wrap it up all right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
I get it, but here's the thing: it is a cheat for you, and I think that that's an important aspect of this. It's like a lot of times, when we're talking about this stuff again, like when I was talking to Laurel, she was like, "Well, what's a cheat and what's not?" And it's like, well, this isn't that's going to be different for everybody. Like it's more of a cravings battle than it is sometimes like anything else. Like again, I think the Taco Bell is a good example. It's like is going to would I go to Taco Bell right now and get a protein like a Power Bowl? I would not, right? But it's one of those things where at the time, given my options, I made the good decision, and that's where the victory truly lies. And I think that's how the whole like red, yellow, green system.
You got the best thing you possibly could given the situation that you had.
And I think if people are doing that, like even putting themselves in situations, if you put yourself in the situation of going to whatever restaurant or whatever like kind of thing, it's like it's making it a good decision there. Or, you know, for some people it's even a smaller step than that. Like one of the ones that I've even done for people or even myself is almost like instead of having a cheat meal a week is almost like little micro cheats where it's like I'd go to Brahms. This is a good example. It's like you go to Brahms and it's like you want a burger and fries is what you'd normally get. Well, it's like get a grilled chicken sandwich and fries. Like let's just literally make one better decision than we normally do.
Right.
And then it's like we'll work our way to 2 better decisions and work our way to 3. And then eventually we're starting to really look good after a while.
It was like what we said is even the most elite, they can't make 100 changes in their life overnight.
No. Right. Well, cool, man. I think that, Ryan, we close to probably at our 2-hour mark or right about?
We're probably close to 2.5.
Oh, wow. We got on a roll there. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. Well, yeah. Thanks, guys. Again, you know, it's episode 9 of Job Guys. And we just really...
Get him, Stanley.
But yeah, guys, really appreciate you listening. We appreciate you guys listening, even when we've been working for 2 straight weeks, almost every single hour of the day, and sleeping a few hours at night. This ended up being a good one, though. I liked a lot of what we talked about, especially in the second half. So appreciate everybody listening and all the people who we've gotten a lot of compliments recently on people thinking things are funny that we think are funny, which has been really nice. Kind of talking to people and just being like, I was cackling, like listening to you guys when we're sitting here laughing, thinking our own jokes are funny because we're stupid. But it's like, turns out you guys are stupid too. So we really appreciate you guys for all that.
We've known each other for about 10 years and we've always been curious if we're actually funny or if we just both think we're each other funny.
And you're giving us all the... Ryan, are we funny?
We got to go.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.